and entertained with the new and updated NDTV News app. You can watch all our channels live, listen to podcasts, read breaking and exclusive news from around the world and more. Download the NDTV app today and get access to the best journalism and storytelling on your smartphone or tablet. The NDTV app. News that matters to you.
तालियों के साथ हम स्वागत करेंगे आदरणीय मोदी जी का।
छत्रपति शिवाजी महाराज की।
त्यांचा अजेंडा फक्त करप्शन फर्स्ट आमचा अजेंडा आहे नेशन फर्स्ट.
घोषणा आणि जनतेचे पैसे लुटणं.
कट कमिशन आणि करप्शनला आमच्याकडे थारा नाही. त्यांचा परिवारवाद आमचा
महाराष्ट्रामध्ये 1,75,000 जागा रिक्त आहेत. पण का भरत नाही? राज्याची जनतेच्या घमाच्या पैशाची तिजोरी लुटण्यासाठी हे सरकार आहे.
पूर्वीच्या सरकारच्या काळामध्ये निधी देताना त्यांना असं वाटायचं की त्यांच्याच खिशातले पैसे चालले. शेतकऱ्यांना मोफत वीज देण्याचं काम आपल्या सरकारने सुरू केलं.
In a world of shifting power dynamics, India stands tall as a global force. Join us at the NDTV World Summit 2024, where Prime Minister Narendra Modi will unveil his transformative vision for the India century. Be a part of a summit of thought leaders and visionaries, shaping the world's future. NDTV World Summit, October 21st and 22nd on the NDTV network.
New day, new show, a new experience.
Start your day with the news, not views.
We bring you stories that matter
And impact your life.
news that informs and keeps you ahead. From Maximum City, Mumbai,
To the seat of power, Delhi.
NDTV brings you the best breakfast show. Breakfast news on NDTV, 8 a.m. every day.
I've been reporting on all issues, big and small, from Andhra Pradesh, Telangana, rest of South India, bringing you all the action, all that you need to know, all that you want to know.
The energy of Maximum City is infectious. I bring in that energy in our news coverage from financial capital Mumbai.
India's IT capital is always buzz. It's literally a city that never sleeps. And I keep you ahead on all the Bengaluru buzz.
Covering from the southernmost part of India over the last 23 years, I bring in-depth and 360-degree coverage from the Dravidian heartland.
The land of Mishti is also known for its bitter politics. I have seen much water flow under the Howrah Bridge, covering Bengal in all its vivid colors.
Stay informed and entertained with the new and updated NDTV News app. You can watch all our channels live, listen to podcasts, read breaking and exclusive news from around the world and more. Download the NDTV app today and get access to the best journalism and storytelling on your smartphone or tablet. The NDTV app. News that matters to you.
तालियों के साथ हम स्वागत करेंगे आदरणीय मोदी जी का।
छत्रपति शिवाजी महाराज की।
त्यांचा अजेंडा.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. India has slammed Canada yet again for maligning India and endorsing anti-India elements. Meanwhile, with regard to the incident of violence that happened in UP, the accused have been shot at, they are injured and they are in police custody. We'll get you all that and more in this bulletin, but first, the headlines. Bahraich violence, accused shot in an encounter, political face-off over UP encounter. Opposition says UP government using encounters to hide its failures. Aviation Minister Ram Mohan Naidu breaks silence on threat calls to Airline, says most of the culprits identified are minors and that there's no conspiracy angle which has emerged so far. Indian government slams Canada for the deepening rift between the two countries, says Prime Minister of Canada Justin Trudeau is responsible for escalating the crisis and there is a clear pattern to maligning India. In the backdrop of diplomatic tensions between India and Canada, India has flagged Canada's non-cooperation in extraditing Bishnoi gang members. MEA has said that there are 26 extradition requests pending with the Government of Canada. It's a new low for Team India in Test cricket. Host team out for 46 runs, the lowest at home, lowest by any team on Indian soil. Well, the two accused in the Bahraich violence case were shot by the UP police on Thursday while they were allegedly attempting to flee to Nepal. Both the accused have been identified as Sarfaraz and Mohammad Talib. In fact, according to UP Special Task Force Chief Amitabh Yash, the two were shot on the border after the police received information about their presence in the area. Remember, violence broke out in Maharashtra, which is in Bahraich, on 13th of October over loud music during a Durga Puja immersion in which one person died of gunshot injury.
ये घटनाएं जो हो रही हैं वो सरकार की नाकामी की वजह से हो रही हैं। सरकार अपनी नाकामी छिपाने के लिए इनकाउंटर कर रही है। अगर इनकाउंटर से ही लॉ एंड ऑर्डर बेहतर हो रहा होता तो अभी उत्तर प्रदेश कई आंकड़ों में और प्रदेशों से अच्छा होता। जब वहां पर तय था, पुलिस की जानकारी में था, तो आखिरकार आपने शांतिपूर्ण ढंग से क्यों नहीं प्रोसेशन को ले जाने दिया या उस कार्यक्रम को संपन्न क्यों नहीं करा पाए? जो लोग एक शांतिपूर्ण तरीके से एक कस्बे, गांव का या आसपास के लोगों का कार्यक्रम शांतिपूर्ण से संपन्न नहीं करा पा रहे हैं, उनसे लॉ ऑर्डर की क्या उम्मीद करेंगे आप?
Ranveer, my colleague, joins us with more details on this. Ranveer, tell us about the updates in this case. Two accused shot in encounter, and of course, while they are injured and they are in police custody, this has also become a political controversy now in the state of Uttar Pradesh.
Yes, Vasudha, on Sunday, an unfortunate incident occurred when Durga Idol's immersion procession was going on, and Ram Gopal Mishra was killed in a firing during clashes between two communities. And after that clash, a riot-like situation occurred in Bahraich on Monday afternoon, and police were searching for the main accused, and five main accused, including Sarfaraz and Talim, arrested after an encounter in Bahraich near Indo-Nepal border. Both were in police custody, and they were trying. The police were trying to recover the arms which was used in Bahraich riot, and when they reached the spot where the arms were hidden, then they tried to fire on policemen. Then, in an exchange of fire, cops fired at Sarfaraz and Talim, and both were injured and was arrested. And after this incident, they were admitted in CSC Nandwara, but doctors said that they are out of danger. As far as political issues are concerned, opposition hit Yogi government saying that this is a planned encounter, this is a fake encounter, and Akhilesh Yadav, Ajay Rai, UP Congress chief, AIM UP President Shaukat Ali, all blamed Yogi government that this is a fake encounter and government want to set a specific narrative for a political gain, and that's why they are doing such kind of encounters. But Yogi government is firm and claiming that they'll prove this as a real encounter in court. They are not supposed to answer to opposition because they are just blaming about a fake encounter. So obviously this is not the first time, but earlier also some questions were raised by opposition about encounters, and this time also in the Bahraich riot case, five main accused were arrested, including Sarfaraz and Talib, who were arrested after an encounter today afternoon. And earlier also police registered more than 10 FIRs and arrested more than 50 accused, and also identification of those people who were accused in this case. The police is trying to identify and arrest them.
Right. Thank you, Veer, for joining us with those details. Political war of words in UP over the latest encounter. Moving on, an Air India flight from Mumbai to London declared an emergency on board after receiving a bomb threat. Today, 5 Air India flights to Vistara and 2 Indigo flights also received bomb threats, adding to the list of threat calls that airlines have been receiving this week. In fact, this is the 4th consecutive day with at least 20 aircraft getting threats in 4 days. Today, 5 Air India flights to Vistara and 2 Indigo flights also received bomb threats. Joining me now is my colleague Vishnu Shom. In the past few days, Vishnu, Indian Airlines have faced multiple hoaxes forcing flight diversions, delays. This also leads to massive operational costs. How are the airlines and also how is the government looking at addressing this problem?
Well, there have been 15 bomb threats today. I count close to 40 or in the range of 40 over the last 3 odd days when this has been taking place. It's an unprecedented civil aviation crisis. It's not happened in any other country in the world. And it's a huge problem for thousands of passengers who have to go through this experience of being on a flight potentially with a bomb on board. A huge problem for airports around the world. There was an Air India plane which landed at London Heathrow, had to be taken to the isolation area, all the passengers taken off that aircraft. And of course, the financial consequences of airlines having to delay flights or having to deal with delays or diversions is absolutely huge. Now, the Civil Aviation Minister makes the point today that these are pranksters at work. And yesterday, if you recall, there was a 17-year-old who was arrested, apparently because he was part of a plot to tweet out these messages, and was trying to target a friend of his who he wanted the blame to go to. But I think at this stage, the question really needs to be asked. We are up at close to 40 such incidents. Some media, the Indian Express, reporting that VPN addresses in the United Kingdom and Germany are being reported as the source of some of these messages. So is there some sort of an international conspiracy of pranksters at work? Some would suggest that that seems unrealistic, which raises the question, what exactly is happening?
Thank you, Vishnu Shom, for joining us with those details. Ram Mohan Naidu, Civil Aviation Minister, has responded to this controversy. In fact, he has broken his silence for the first time. Speaking on this, he has said that the ministry is trying to find out the culprits. He has said that most of them accused are identified are minors. He also said that there is no conspiracy angle to this so far. Let's listen in to what he said today.
So we are ensuring that these kind of fake bomb threats don't happen in the future, and any change in rules or change in legislation we are thoroughly pursuing from our department also, so that it becomes a strict barrier for people who are trying to do these kind of prank things. And also the police are pursuing the cases and trying to find out who are behind this, and in fact the Home Affairs is also helping us a lot in that area. Other than that, whatever needs to be done, because airlines are also feeling a lot of inconvenience, including the passengers also. So we don't want these kind of situations to repeat themselves. We can't comment anything like a conspiracy, but whatever little bit we have known, it's coming from minors or some pranksters. Genuinely, for some very little petty things, they are trying to do these kind of threats on the social media or through phone calls. We are talking to everyone. We are talking to the airlines. We are talking to security agencies.
Ram Mohan Naidu, Civil Aviation Minister, there saying that the Ministry of Home Affairs is working with the Ministry of Civil Aviation to identify all those pranksters who have been giving threat calls to airlines. Moving on to other domestic stories, looking to keep up the pressure on the opposition after the BJP pulled off a stunning victory, a hat-trick in Haryana. The NDA today held a meeting of all its chief ministers and deputy chief ministers from the NDA coalition in Chandigarh, and this was immediately after Nayaab Singh Saini took oath as the Chief Minister of the state for the second time. The meeting, which comes ahead of the Maharashtra-Jharkhand Assembly elections, was chaired by Prime Minister Narendra Modi. It was attended by senior ministers in the cabinet, including Home Minister Amit Shah, Defence Minister Rajnath Singh, and BJP President JP Nadda, amongst others. In fact, BJP sources also said that Valmiki Jayanti as a date had been carefully chosen to send a signal to the SC community members whose vote was seen as having tilted towards India bloc in Lok Sabha elections. I have my colleague Aishwarya joining us with more details on this. Aishwarya, this event was happening in Haryana, but clearly the target was Maharashtra and Jharkhand. BJP sending out a message of a show of strength, a politically loaded message in terms of optics. Tell us what really happened in the meeting, clearly also because BJP wants its allies to be on the same page.
Well, the meeting is still underway in Chandigarh. As far as Prime Minister is concerned, he is still over here at the venue of NDA Chief Ministers Council meeting. And now it's been more than 5 hours that the meeting has started. Of course, the sources clearly indicated to us that it was Prime Minister Narendra Modi's leadership that was hailed by the entire NDA leaders who were there in the meeting, including 13 chief ministers and 16 deputy chief ministers and the NDA partners as well. It was a straight message that the leaders have sent across, that they are united under the leadership of Prime Minister Narendra Modi, and in the upcoming elections of Maharashtra and Jharkhand, they are going to fight as one, specifically in Maharashtra, where the Mahayuti Aghadi coalition will be fighting together. Eknath Shinde, Devendra Fadnavis and Ajit Pawar is still over here, and there is a separate meeting we've been told is going on Maharashtra as well. But certainly it's a show of strength for the NDA today during the oath-taking ceremony of Naib Singh Saini as well. And it was, just not the chief ministers and the NDA alliance partners, but also senior union ministers also taking participation. And, the kind of historic mandate that the Bharatiya Janata Party got, they wanted to send across this message to Maharashtra and Jharkhand as well, that the policies of Bharatiya Janata Party, which they had implemented in the past, the people literally liked it and they voted them for a historic mandate. Let me show you these visuals from the venue, which is in Chandigarh, where the meeting is still underway. There are few leaders who had an early flight. They just left, but Prime Minister Narendra Modi, Home Minister Amit Shah, Defence Minister Rajnath Singh, BJP President JP Nadda, along with 13 Chief Ministers and 16 Deputy Chief Ministers are still inside the hotel where the National Democratic Alliance Council meeting of Chief Ministers is going on. The agenda is very clear: to strengthen India's democracy and to celebrate 75th year of the Indian Constitution. So certainly, what comes out, we are expecting JP Nadda to hold a press conference to give a media bite as well. And the stage has been set over here. Shortly, we can hear from different chief ministers of the NDA Alliance and JP Nadda coming together after the meeting concludes.
Well, it's Congress versus BJP again over EVM tampering, charges of EVM tampering. Congress's conspiracy charge over Haryana polls. BJP has now hit back at the Congress party. BJP has said that Rahul Gandhi blames the EVM when he loses, when his party loses. This is Maharashtra Minister Sudhir Mugantiwar, who's a senior BJP leader. He has slammed the Congress party, saying that the Congress party spread lies in Lok Sabha elections, and if EVM could speak, it could have asked Rahul Gandhi, why do you blame me? That's what he said. Let's look at some political reactions to this.
हमेशा की तरह फिर उनका बाबा पकोड़ा डायलॉग शुरू हो गया। ईवीएम मशीन, उसको अगर बात करने का अधिकार दिया जाएगा ना, तो कहेगी कि बताओ राहुल जी मेरा कसूर क्या है, हारने के बाद आपके नज़र में मैं दिखती हूँ और जब जीतते हो तो आपका विचार दिखता है। हमेशा की तरह फिर उनका बाबा पकोड़ा डायलॉग शुरू हो गया। ईवीएम मशीन, उसको अगर बात करने का अधिकार दिया जाएगा ना, तो कहेगी कि बताओ राहुल जी मेरा कसूर क्या है, हारने के बाद आपके नज़र में मैं दिखती हूँ और जब जीतते हो तो आपका विचार दिखता है। हमेशा की तरह फिर उनका बाबा पकोड़ा डायलॉग शुरू हो गया। ईवीएम मशीन, उसको अगर
Well, Matthew Anthony of the Congress party joins me with more details on this. Matthew, you heard what Sudhir Mugantiwar had to say. He's from your state of Maharashtra. And clearly there are many questions that are being asked around Congress party's criticism of the EVMs, considering that the party won handsomely in Karnataka and of course managed a remarkable performance in Lok Sabha elections of 2024. Why is this selective targeting of EVMs that the Congress party does? Do you think that that is justified in some ways?
I'd like to ask this question to Sudhir Mugantiwar on who is L.K. Advani, who is GVL Narasimha Rao, and who is Ravi Shankar Prasad. L.K. Advani wrote a foreword in a book called Democracy in Danger, authored by GVL Narasimha Rao, about the EVM machines, with foreign experts giving expert commentary on how an EVM can be manipulated. Now, the same Mugantiwar, after being in power for a few terms, now is saying that we are making selective statements. We did selective statements because BJP played selectively. We had raised our concerns in 79 seats in the parliament where we have concerns on the EVM. Similarly, we have raised concerns on the EVM's battery being charged at 99% in 4 districts in Haryana. So they are also playing it selectively because BJP is playing a card where, one state is kind of compromised because they know that there is a complete wave against them. And then they will say that, in the other state we have won. So that's exactly they are playing. And, the selective EVM conspiracy is being played out on the Lok Sabha elections as well as in the Haryana elections. And because of the confidence of the BJP as well as Himanta Biswa Sharma making a statement day before yesterday on exactly knowing the election dates, we see how the elections are being compromised right now. So we have all the rights to raise the questions when we see discrepancies in the EVM performances or some mandates, which is there.
Right. Matthew Anthony from the Congress Party joining us with his view on the EVM conspiracy. Moving on to more stories from poll-bound Maharashtra. Maharashtra poll prep has picked up pace. In fact, parties are in a huddle to fix seat-sharing arrangements. There's a key MBA huddle in Mumbai over seat share. In fact, key leaders from opposition bloc are attending this meeting. MBA is, remember, still to finalize the seat-sharing arrangements, and Maharashtra is all set to vote on the 20th of November. My colleague Radhika joins me with more details on this. Radhika, the seat-sharing arrangements in MVA have been going on, the talks have been going on for a while now. What is the update on this case, and what is this meeting all about? The visuals, show that there are all senior leaders from all three parties present. What is the update on that front?
That's right. MVA meetings have been going on for quite some time as far as seat sharing is concerned. Marathon meetings taking place. Yet another meeting was held today as well in BKC. And as you can see in those visuals, all top leaders, including Nana Patole, Sanjay Raut, Anil Deshmukh, and several others are present. So another meeting taking place. Seat sharing has been finalized for close to 200 to 220 seats is what we're getting to know. In fact, as far as Mumbai seats are concerned, there had been a lot of meetings taking place over 36 assembly seats of Mumbai. And that seems to have been finalized. NDA has sealed the deal for 36 seats in Mumbai is what we are hearing. However, no consensus yet on chief ministerial candidates. Leaders have not been coming out with names. Of course, Chief Minister, former CM Uddhav Thackeray had been saying that he will back any candidate that NCP or the Congress chooses. So, but no CM candidate yet. So 10% seat discussion is pending is what Anil Deshmukh said today post the meeting. So looks like Sena and Congress in the entire 288 seat deal may get equal seats, followed by NCP Sharad Pawar. The leaders also said that all the three parties plan to file a complaint with Election Commission tomorrow. In fact, they will be holding a press conference also to disclose the details. It is pertaining to ambiguity in voters list, regularization of voting facility and so on. What exactly the nature of the complaint is something that we will get to know tomorrow. But as of now, yes, seat sharing discussions continue. It will continue for the next couple of days as well. But we are expecting some sort of formula to be announced formally by all the leaders by end of this week.
Thank you, Radhika, for those details. MVA's very important meeting there, taking the talks of seat sharing further. Moving on to other stories, the Ministry of External Affairs said on Thursday that India has requested Canada to arrest members of the Lawrence Bishnoi gang, but it did not act on New Delhi's core concerns. The MEA also rejected false imputations against Indian diplomats that were made by Prime Minister of Canada, Justin Trudeau. Referring to Mr. Trudeau's admission, the MEA reiterated that Canada hasn't shared a shred of evidence with New Delhi proving Indian agents' involvement in the murder.
We chose to continue to work behind the scenes to try and get India to cooperate with us. And at that point, it was primarily intelligence, not hard evidentiary proof.
As far as the allegations are concerned, PM Trudeau's own admission yesterday would indicate the value. As regards our stance on the allegations, we will naturally reject false imputations against our diplomats. There's a clear pattern to smear India for reasons best known to them.
India rebutting Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau's admission that Canada has no hard evidential proof to support allegations linking Indian government agents to the killing of Khalistani terrorist Hardeep Singh Nijjar last year. India reiterated Canada shared no evidence in support of the case. even accusing Trudeau of damaging India-Canada ties. On the Lawrence Bishnoi link, India says Canada disregarded multiple extradition requests.
There are 26 extradition requests pending with the Canadian side. We have shared security-related information with the Canadian government regarding gang members, including those of Lawrence Bishnoi gang, and requested them to arrest them. So far, no action has been taken by the Canadian side on our request.
The Ministry of External Affairs says that from the very beginning, the Canadian approach has been to make vague accusations and put the burden of denial on India. Earlier, India decided to withdraw its High Commissioner in Canada, Sanjay Kumar Verma, after Ottawa linked him and other Indian diplomats to the Nijjar case. However, Canada alleges that it was they who asked the 6 diplomats, including the High Commissioner, to leave the country. Trudeau is seeking another term as Canada's Prime Minister, but has recently faced one political setback after another. He has repeatedly been seen standing shoulder to shoulder with extremists and separatists attending Khalistan rallies, terming all this as free speech. He has also lost support of his key ally Jagmeet Singh, and on Tuesday, a Liberal MP publicly called for his resignation. There's a growing number of Liberal MPs that remain frustrated with Trudeau's leadership and lack of strategy in countering Conservative leader Pierre Poilievre. Latest to join ranks among condemning Trudeau's stand on the Nijjar killing is MP Chandra Arya from Trudeau's own party.
We know that extremism and terrorism don't recognize and are not limited to national borders. On Canadian Khalistani violent extremism, as Canadians, we expect our federal government and its agencies to collaborate with other affected countries to protect our citizens. The persistence of Canadian Khalistani extremism is rooted in the political patronage these extremists enjoy.
Sikhs in Canada form the 4th largest ethnic group, and there is a notable faction that supports the Khalistani movement, making it politically significant for Trudeau to engage with this community. But it seems Trudeau's K card isn't playing out to plan. Bureau report for NDTV.
Well, the Ministry of External Affairs also said that India had requested Canada to arrest members of the Lawrence Bishnoi gang, but that Canada didn't act on New Delhi's core concerns. In fact, Randir Jaiswal, who's a spokesperson of the MVA, said, and I quote, we had shared some requests with Canada for the arrest of those from Lawrence Bishnoi gang. They haven't taken any action on our core concerns. There is also a political motive behind this. This is what MEA spokesperson Randir Jaiswal said today.
India has once again slammed Justin Trudeau after his deposition in front of Foreign Interference Commission, where he said that they had intelligence but no proof. Now India has said that this is exactly what it had been saying all along, that since his accusation in September 2023, not a shred of evidence has been shared. Now what was extraordinary was that India has said that there were at least 26 extradition requests pending with Canada for more than a decade. No action had been taken. There were also provisional arrest requests which had been put out by India, but again there was no action. Now these extradition requests and provisional arrest requests also include some noted criminals. The names of at least 5 criminals were read out. There are many more. Then also the name of Lawrence Bishnoi was taken. The spokesperson said that some of the members of gang of Lawrence Bishnoi have also been asked to be extradited or provisional arrest be made because they are involved in criminal activities in Canada as well. Now the MEA questions Justin Trudeau government, asking, when we had asked for their extradition, then how come it is quite strange that you are accusing us of colluding with these same gangs whom we wanted extradited for their criminal activities. Now Justin Trudeau has not given any more evidence, and that is quite clear, and India sticks to its stance saying that no action has been taken, and Canada's words of accepting one India and the actions do not match. But this is something very worrisome, that a gang who has members all across globe and especially in Canada, where anti-India activities are taking place with such impunity, and Canada has given them space in the name of free speech, and this is something which MEA and India are worried about. But the accusations which Canada has made is being clearly called baseless and not acceptable.
That's my colleague Kadambini Sharma reporting on India slamming Canada yet again on endorsing anti-India elements. Meanwhile, India, the most powerful cricketing nation in the world, witnessed a new low in Test cricket on Thursday, even as India versus New Zealand Test did not go well on the second day. In fact, the hosts were shot out for 46 runs, the lowest at home, lowest by any team on Indian soil.
Denied the wish to bat on a moist pitch, the Kiwi bowlers were all over the Indian batters right from the word go. Their bowling deadly and accurate. Rohit Sharma done in by the trickery of Tim Southee. Virat Kohli did the daring to move up to number 3 in the absence of Gill. Debutant Will O'Rourke claimed him. Sarfaraz Khan could not save himself from the temptation of a lofted shot either. Matt Henry breathing fire. Kiwi debutant O'Rourke claimed 4 for 22. While it was Matt Henry who did the ultimate damage, exposing India's vulnerabilities as he grabbed 5 for 15. India put on a pedestrian batting show and was shot out for 46, their lowest at home and the lowest by any team in India. Kiwis in reply showed patience and application. Devon Conway scored 91. Worst for India as Rishabh Pant left the field with a likely injury. And after skittling India for just 46, the Kiwis ended the day at 183 with a lead of 134 runs. India left with a mountain to climb.
Hello, Moto.
Motorola Edge 50 Pro, world's first AI-powered pro-grade camera.
कलर भी मेरा ही फेवरेट मिला.
Dulux Velvet Touch with True Color Technology feels like home. Dulux, Dulux, Dulux.
I don't ever know songs and proses. I don't care for no sweet boys with roses. I'm too busy, baby, making plans on how to get me one of them mailing men. A touch of love.
New day, new show, a new experience.
Start your day with the news, not views.
We bring you stories that matter
and impact your life.
News that informs and keeps you ahead. From Maximum City, Mumbai,
to the seat of power, Delhi,
NDTV brings you the best breakfast show. Breakfast news on NDTV. 8 a.m. every day.
I've been reporting on.
Hello everyone, this is the last word and I'm Maria Shakti. 2 images, 2 political parties, 1 occasion. Valmiki Jayanti. Ladies and gentlemen, just look at these 2 images right on your television screens. Congress MP Rahul Gandhi visiting the Valmiki temple in Delhi on the occasion of the birth anniversary of the creator of the epic Ramayana. BJP government being sworn in the second one in Haryana. Remember, a big factor in BJP's Haryana victory is the resounding support it got from the OBCs and the SCs. As per the CSDS Lokniti survey, a huge percentage, which is 50% of the Jatavs, who form half of the total SC population in Haryana, voted for the Congress. However, in that, 35% chose the BJP and voted for the BJP. This is the same community that Kumari Shailaja, senior Congress leader, belongs to. And as per this survey, the BJP garnered 45% of the votes from non-Jatav SCs, while 33% voted for the Congress. Remember, the BJP had fielded 17 Dalits in the Haryana polls, hoping that it will ensure that this community, which accounts for 21% of Haryana's total population, looks at them favorably, and they did. Today, 13 BJP MLAs took oath as Haryana ministers along with Naib Singh Saini, who took oath as the Chief Minister for the second consecutive time. The cabinet has maintained caste equations by giving representation to Jats, Dalits, Brahmins, Rajput and a Baniya. Saini himself comes from the other backward class or OBC community. A large chunk of the MLAs sworn in were from the OBC community, from which Chief Minister Saini himself belongs to. Saini's strategy was to consolidate the OBCs and not Jat votes, which certainly meant that the BJP managed to ensure this stunning performance in Haryana. A quick recap of what happened today, and then I bring in Haryana Minister Shruti Chaudhary on the show tonight.
NDA show of strength on Valmiki Jayanti, just after the Haryana win and before the Maha Challenge as Maharashtra heads to polls. The occasion, swearing in of Naib Singh Saini as Haryana Chief Minister for the second time. Prime Minister Narendra Modi led the NDA charge, flanked by Amit Shah, JP Nadda, as well as Chief Ministers of 13 states.
We can see these visuals from here. Naib Singh Saini has come at a stage where we have seen huge number of the people, a huge number of the supporters. As of now, what we can understand, BJP is not leaving a single stone unturned to get maximum political mileage out of this victory. He is getting a rousing welcome where we can see the Chief Minister along with all the BJP leaders. They are waving to the supporters. This grand ceremony which is happening in Panchkula, we can see these pictures.
The significance of the date also not lost on anyone. BJP's Haryana turnaround is credited to its social engineering pitch, putting the Dalit outreach first. This reflected in Team Saini. 6 of the 13 ministers who took oath are from the OBC or SC communities. Naib Singh Saini sought the blessings of Valmiki before he took oath.
आज भगवान वाल्मीकि जी महाराज की जयंती है। मुझे अवसर मिला है भगवान वाल्मीकि जी के चरणों में शीश नवाने का और उन महापुरुषों से प्रेरणा लेकर के हमारा हरियाणा प्रदेश आगे बढ़े।
After the grand swearing in, Prime Minister Narendra Modi chaired a key strategy meet with all 13 NDA Chief Ministers in attendance. This meet comes 48 hours after the poll dates for Maharashtra and Jharkhand were announced. Haryana over and Dalit vote firmly with it. The BJP hopes for a repeat of similar consolidation in Maharashtra, where it faces both the Maratha as well as anti-incumbency challenge. The question is, will the series of pre-poll stops announced by the Shinde cabinet ensure the return of this crucial constituency with deterred before the Lok Sabha poll? Aishwarya Jain with Gurpreet Chinna, Bureau Report, NDTV.
Let me bring in Shruti Chaudhary, who was sworn in today. Shruti, thank you so much for your time here on NDTV. Congratulations on being sworn in. You are a minister now. There has been a lot of caste balancing in this new Council of Ministers of Naib Singh Saini. You know, caste has been an integral part of Indian politics and it remains the dominant thread, no matter what people may say. Your thoughts on your own responsibility and going ahead, what does it mean for Haryana?
You see, in this election, all in Haryana, we say Chhattis Biradri. that is symbolic of everybody. It means that it is all encompassing. And everybody is a part of this victory. Everyone has voted for the policies of the BJP, for the leadership that the BJP has provided, for the vision that the Honorable Prime Minister has given to this country. And it is historical that for the first time in Haryana, back to back, Bhajpa has been voted in with a clear majority. So this is a complete testament to the policies and what is being said again and again, sabka saath, sabka vikas, that when we campaigned during this time, and I represent a rural area, as most of Haryana is, and my constituency particularly so, where we had youngsters coming up, and telling us that bina kharchi parchi, because earlier on in Congress, run governments, especially in the previous Hooda government, there was a lot of kshetravad, there was a lot of discrimination, and naukaries and jobs were given in a very corrupt way, and that all that had been removed and simplified for the common man. So a lot of things on the ground were done, and where the common man could see that this particular government is for me. I have, the work is being done. You could tell on the ground.
Okay, Ms. Chaudhary, you represent a seat which was earlier represented by Bansi Lal, and he was the Chief Minister of Haryana for 4 times. So it's a bastion in many ways. When you look back at your own journey, the fact that you and your mother chose to jump the ship and join the Congress, I want you to help us understand, where do you think the Congress strategy went wrong? Do you think there was too much of emphasis on the Jats, trying to woo them, rather than realizing that there are multiple castes at play? Did the Congress overlook the OBCs and SCs?
The Congress has no strategy at all. It is just, on a very sort of ad hoc basis, they just carry on. And the Hoodas had started to, bully everyone.
Okay.
And as a result, there was a mass exodus that started to take place from Congress. And during his time, during his reign, the time that he was a chief minister, he concentrated development only to one part of the constituency, and that also was highly questionable because there were a lot of corruption charges on him, and and the way and the working of his government. So as a result, what started happening was that Congress started to lose grip from the ground completely. And BJP is completely the opposite. There is a complete commitment of all the cadres, all the leadership comes together as one. And then, of course, under the umbrella of a visionary like Honorable Prime Minister Narendra Modi himself. So he is the driving force. And then we have great leaders, who have directed us, who have led the campaign, whether it was Mananiya Manohar Lalji, whether it was our Honorable Home Minister, whether it was the Chief Minister himself.
Okay.
And a lot of good work, I reiterate, was done on the ground. And people saw that. And at the end of the day, people stood with development, because everyone, Congress was constantly hankering amongst themselves. They were, nothing was happening on the ground. You could just see a house in complete chaos.
Okay. My last question to you, today, the messaging of today has not been lost. It is Valmiki Jayanti. So certainly, it's a huge message being sent by your party. And the fact is that the 80% of SCs of Haryana voted for the BJP, which includes 35% of the Jatavs, and other SCs are almost around 45%. Do you think there was this effort at social engineering which turned, which ensured BJP's victory?
You see, I would just say that this is the backbone of governance, where you have everybody comes along. And this happens when your policies are there for the poorest of the poor. And when they have that faith in you, that is when they solidly, and it becomes a very solid support. So BJP has been, it's humbling to see that what kind of support came across all the castes together. Everybody came as one, whether it was everybody, like in my own constituency. It was overwhelming and very humbling to see that the whole constituency voted as one. So, I, for instance, don't see anything as a vote bank. For me, it is just an opportunity to people have put us in a very responsible place. The leadership has given us such a big responsibility, and we have to deliver for everyone.
All right, Shruti, thank you so much for joining us, and congratulations on your new responsibility. Shehzad Poonawalla, National Spokesperson of the BJP, is joining us. We have Dr. Anshul Avijit of the Congress and Ashok Bharti, Chairman of National Confederation of Dalit Organizations. Ashok Bharti, where is the BJP getting its Dalit strategy right? Do you think there is a great degree of sincerity in the manner in which the party is approaching this community? You have to unmute yourself, sir.
Thank you for allowing me to come to here. And I believe that there is a huge competition now between the political parties to mobilize the Dalit community. And there is no doubt that in Haryana, BJP has done lots of spade work to outreach to the Dalit communities, irrespective of that, which reflects in 35% votes of the Jatwas went to the BJP, 33% of the non-Jatwa vote. In fact, the majority of the non-Jatwa votes went to the BJP. So certainly they have advantage because they have the mass presence across the country, across the Haryana, and they have a highly trained cadre which outreach to the community, and this is one of the reasons. In case of the other political parties, they have the ideas of social justice, but they need to really strengthen their idea of social justice at the ground level. So these are the two things. Apart from this, I believe that the Haryana election, if we look at Haryana election from the perspective of the Dalits, there were some derogatory comments made against the Dalit community. So obviously, this is the time when nobody will tolerate such derogation.
Okay, Anshul Avijit, the question here is that the Congress party was talking about caste census. It was also building that narrative that, reservation will be done away with if the BJP gets that number of 400 par during the Lok Sabha polls. That actually worked during the Lok Sabha polls. Why do you think you were not able to convince, your own supporters in the elections which followed a few months later?
Are you asking me, Maria?
Yes, that's a question to you.
Oh, right. No, I mean, look, who voted for whom in this particular election? It was a tight election. The results were unexpected. There are a number of reasons for that, both technical, they relate to relationship between communities. First of all, the Dalit community, as we call it, it's unfortunate that they're still being called that community 75 years later, and we're still talking about the language of caste. It's highly regrettable. But so, as it may be, the Dalit community is not a monolith, right? The scheduled castes are not a monolith community. Yes. There are a number of segregated communities within that. They used to be, at one point, spoken of as like one sweeping community. They even used to vote en bloc. But now I think with the deepening of the processes, whichever way you look at it, there are aspirations between all of them. And you really have to earn the trust of every single community. What every election serves to remind every single party is that trust must be earned. There has to be outreach. You have to go.
So you were not able
what the
to
BJP
earn their
has
trust.
been trying to do. No, what the BJP has been trying to do when it removes references to caste discrimination in NCRT books, when Dalit writers are removed from the courses of Delhi University, when you talk about 400 Par, for what reason we don't know, but clearly there is a reason that you are going to change the constitution, where you're constantly critiquing the policy of reservations.
You know, Anshul, we are
RSS
showing the visuals right now. We are showing the visuals of efforts which have been made by the Prime Minister himself right at the top in ensuring the outreach to this community not once, but consistently over the last few years. You know, be it cleaning up Valmiki.
You're going to show me these patronizing rituals and think that the Dalit community has been won over?
Yes.
I mean, that's ridiculous.
If electorally, if anything we have to go by, we have to actually tell the truth. Let's go with the numbers which have been talked about by the CSDS
The numbers don't reveal
survey.
anything.
CSDS survey actually says that there is a significant, in fact, a very high percentage of non-Jata SCs which have voted for the BJP. So, you know, let's not deny the numbers now. Yes, Shehzad Poonawala, please come in.
Just allow me to complete 1 minute. I'm not denying. Maria, just one more second.
Yes.
Before Shehnaz, I'm keen to hear Shehzad as well. I'm just saying that nobody is denying that community, there has to be no outreach. I'm not suggesting that. I am only simply saying that there was a narrative that was built up throughout these elections, which you have referred to continuously. It's been a cultural narrative, it's been a political narrative, it's been a technical narrative that paid, I think, the Dalit community in the elections, in the Lok Sabha elections, veered towards us. And I believe that we still have a sizable chunk of their votes.
Yes, okay. Shehzad?
You see, first of all,
okay, let's have Shehzad and Anshul on the screen now, please. Yes, go ahead.
Maria, this is the problem. While Congress focuses on narrative, we focus on doing things with niyat. Today is not just Valmiki Jayanti, it also happens to be the unfortunate day when 1 hour ago, Captain Ajay Yadav, the National OBC Chairperson of Congress, has called it quits from the Congress party. The last time this happened, we know that Sitaram Kesi, one of the OBC presidents of Congress, the only last one, how he was treated. Congress is essentially a party that talks about Dalit but wants Dal Hit. And for Dal Hit, it does Dalit and OBC ka apman constantly. Let me give you examples. First of all, this Arakshan reservation, 1961 Nehruji has written categorical letter that I would not want reservation, it creates second class people. 1980 to 90, Rajiv Gandhi and Indira Gandhi opposed Mandal. Rajiv Gandhi said Buddhu ko Arakshan milta hai. 2004 to 14, Jamia AMU used to have SC/ST Arakshan, it was finished off. We know that in Rangnath Mishra, they proposed that the SC/ST Arakshan should be given, part of it should be given to Muslims. We know that in Karnataka, they took off from the chunk of OBC Arakshan and gave it to the Muslims purely on religious grounds. They have done this in the past. Salman Khurshid also said, from 27% OBC quota, I want to give 9% to Muslims before the UP elections. Look at what they did in the Haryana elections. They insulted Kumari Shelja. And when it came, first Rahul Gandhi went abroad and he said, Arakshan khatam kar denge hum log. And then they said, Dalit Netrutva khatam kar denge, the manner in which they treated Kumari Shelja. Forget everything else. You're showing visuals, Maria. Today's visuals, this is Rahul Gandhi with the people who have come to meet him. Camera person, can you please zoom? Ambedkarji's portrait has been kept on the ground. This is the way they treat. And Ambedkarji was defeated twice by the Congress party. Ambedkarji was not given Bharat Ratna on time. Here, this is the picture. Rahul Gandhi is sitting. And here, next to his feet, you can see Ambedkarji's portrait. So therefore, Congress never respects Dalit, or a better word would be scheduled caste people. Look, let me give you another example. This entire narrative they have been doing in the entire Madhya Pradesh, Chhattisgarh, Rajasthan election. Rajasthan had maximum number of SC/ST atrocities. Then after that, those 3 elections they lost. Odisha, where there's a sizable tribal population, we won. Chhattisgarh, sizable tribal population, we won. We made a tribal CM. Today we are also winning Haryana elections. We have won many such state elections, and there we have made OBC people chief minister. They had opportunity in Telangana. They had promised Dalit Samaj, SC Samaj, that we will make chief minister. Instead, they make Revant Reddy, who had abused Kurmi caste. So this is the distance between narrative. You know, some people, they come, they wear muffler and they say, Hawa hai Congress ki, Aandhi hai Congress ki, Tsunami hai Congress ki. Or some Chaduni type people come and they make the mahal for Congress. ऐसे narrative से नहीं बनता. Avjit ji, just आप मुझे बता दीजिए, if the Congress respected the SC community, Please just tell me, 70 years you had, why you did not make one OBC as the Prime Minister of this country who could complete his tenure?
Okay.
Deve Gowda ji was first OBC Prime Minister, but 3 times BJP has made. BJP in fact made OBC Chief Ministers like Kalyan Singh, Uma Bharti when the Congress was opposing OBC rights.
Okay. Anshul
So
Avijit.
therefore Congress should be the last person to preach.
Anshul,
Can I
please
answer that?
respond.
Yeah. No. The BJP talking about social justice. I mean, what can one say? You remove NCRT, you remove references to discrimination, which means you're building ground. Since there was no caste discriminations, there is no need for reservations. Time and again, leaders in the BJP, in their what is their ideologue, basically the RSS have said, no, it's time to review reservations. It should be done away with. People, Dalits who've come out from the RSS ranks have spoken about the discrimination which exists there. There are written books on it, right? You have lateral entry that was actually codified. A paper came out in which, an advertisement came out in which 44 posts were actually advertised. You are doing away with reservations. There's proof of that. What else do you want? They've been speaking about it. They've been actually doing it on the ground. Their own minister from Apna Dal, she came out and says, why hasn't the reservation policy been followed when there was niyukti of 69,000 shikshaks in UP? It was flouted. She wrote a letter. It's been flouted by their own party, and their own party people are coming out and speaking against it. You've got Dalit writers that are removed, ST sub-plan that was removed, scholarships are being cut down. Time and again, there is a war on the SC community. What you have is platitudes and patronizing images that you see on television.
Okay.
That's not going to cut it.
Okay.
It can, and then you create further divisions by saying,
Okay,
Dalit
Shahzad, I have just
Ati
enough time
Dalit.
for your response on this.
See, Maria, I always come prepared with my facts. This is the date 3/3/1985. आरक्षण के नाम पर बुद्धों को बढ़ावा नहीं दे सकते, राजीव गांधी. It is published in Navbharat Times. Secondly, since he's talking about SC/ST funds, government has misused and diverted 37% of SC/ST funds in Karnataka, that is tune of 14,000 crores. Thirdly, I want to ask my friend, dear Mr. Avijit, that if you are so much for the rights of SC, why didn't you declare or even allow Kumari Shelja to fight? And fourthly, this is what Congress party used to say. Please listen.
मैं तो चाहूंगी कि ये शब्द हम हटा दें अपने देश से. हम सब
मेरा विश्वास जातिवाद में नहीं है, says आदरणीय इंदिरा गांधी जी. Is he now today discarding the views of Indira Gandhi ji? Of course, we want a casteless and a discriminationless society, but we are the ones who are doing it through empowerment. You are the ones who are doing it only through division of Hindu society. And by the way, Maria, you and I both know Pasmanda Samaj exists in Muslims also. It's not direct caste, but it is upper class, lower class. How many times Rahul Gandhi has spoken for the rights of Pasmanda? And Pasmandas face huge discrimination at the hands of Ashraf. You know it, how much they face the discrimination.
All right.
Has the Congress party ever spoken for Pasmanda?
Okay. So the caste lines and this all effort for the Dalit vote has only perhaps reached this new crescendo, and it will only grow in the coming few days and weeks in the run-up to Maharashtra elections. Shahzad Poonawalla, Dr. Anshul Avijit and Ashok Bharti, appreciate your time here on NDTV. That's all from me on this edition of The Last Word. We are putting out the entire debate on ndtv.com. And right here in the studio is my colleague, Vishnu Shaw.
It's a big day again, and a frightening one at that. 15 more flights in one day. Bomb threats once again, Maria. In my count, that's upwards of 36 flights over 3 days. The minister says that there are pranksters involved, but with close to 40 flights and with some IP addresses traced to Germany and the UK, you really need to ask, who's behind this?
Absolutely.
All that and a lot more coming up on Left, Right and Centre after this short break.
Hello, Moto.
Motorola Edge 50 Pro, world's first AI-powered pro-grade camera.
I don't care for no songs and proses. I don't care for no sweet boys with roses. All I want is a touch of love.
तालियों के साथ हम स्वागत करेंगे आदरणीय मोदी जी का।
छत्रपति शिवाजी महाराज की।
घोषणा आणि जनतेचे पैसे लुटणं.
कट कमिशन आणि करप्शनला आमच्याकडे थारा नाही. त्यांचा परिवारवाद आमचा
महाराष्ट्रामध्ये 1,75,000 जागा रिक्त पण का भरत नाही? राज्याची जनतेच्या घमाच्या पैशाची तिजोरी लुटण्यासाठी हे सरकार आहे.
पूर्वीच्या सरकारच्या काळामध्ये निधी देताना त्यांना असं वाटायचं की त्यांच्याच खिशातले पैसे चालले. शेतकऱ्यांना मोफत वीज देण्याचं काम आपल्या सरकारने सुरू केलं.
In a world of shifting power dynamics, India stands tall as a global force. Join us at the NDTV World Summit 2024, where Prime Minister Narendra Modi will unveil his transformative vision for the India century. Be a part of a summit of thought leaders and visionaries, shaping the world's future. NDTV World Summit, October 21st and 22nd on the NDTV network.
New day, new show, a new experience.
Start your day with the news, not views.
We bring you stories that matter
and impact your life.
News that informs and keeps you ahead. From Maximum City, Mumbai,
to the seat of power, Delhi,
NDTV brings you the best breakfast show. Breakfast news on NDTV, 8 a.m. every day.
I've been reporting on all issues, big and small, from Andhra Pradesh, Telangana, rest of South India, bringing you all the action, all that you need to know, all that you want to know.
The energy of Maximum City is infectious. I bring in that energy in our news coverage from financial capital, Mumbai.
India's IT capital is always buzz. It's literally a city that never sleeps. And I keep you ahead on all the Bengaluru buzz.
covering from the southernmost part of India over the last 23 years. I bring in-depth and 360-degree coverage from the Dravidian heartland.
The land of Mishti is also known for its bitter politics. I have seen much water flow under the Howrah Bridge, covering Bengal in all its vivid colors.
Two cappuccinos to go.
I don't care for no songs and proses. I don't care for no sweet boys with roses. All I want is a touch of love.
तालियों के साथ हम स्वागत करेंगे आदरणीय मोदी जी का।
छत्रपति शिवाजी महाराज की।
करप्शन फर्स्ट आमचा अजेंडा आहे नेशन फर्स्ट.
घोषणा आणि जनतेचे पैसे लुटणं.
कट कमिशन आणि करप्शनला आमच्याकडे थारा नाही. त्यांचा परिवारवाद आमचा
महाराष्ट्रामध्ये 1,75,000 जागा रिक्त पण का भरत नाही? राज्याची जनतेच्या घमाच्या पैशाची तिजोरी लुटण्यासाठी हे सरकार आहे.
पूर्वीच्या सरकारच्या काळामध्ये निधी देताना त्यांना असं वाटायचं की त्यांच्याच खिशातले पैसे चालले. शेतकऱ्यांना मोफत वीज देण्याचं काम आपल्या सरकारने सुरू केलं.
In a world of shifting power dynamics, India stands tall as a global force. Join us at the NDTV World Summit 2024, where Prime Minister Narendra Modi will
Good evening. Welcome to Left, Right and Centre. I'm Vishnu. Show on the program tonight. India firmly rejects Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau's allegations at a deposition in Ottawa linking Indian agents to the murder of Hardeep Singh Nijjar, a Sikh separatist in Canada. The External Affairs Ministry has labelled Trudeau's statements as having no evidence, accusing him of damaging bilateral ties for political gain. India maintains that Canada has not provided concrete proof to back up its serious claims, thus escalating the diplomatic tension. Amidst this row, India has criticised Trudeau for his handling of the situation, suggesting that his actions are motivated by domestic politics rather than factual bias, straining the already tense ties between India and Canada. Next up on the program, another 15 flights at least have received bomb threats today, throwing Indian civil aviation into an even greater crisis. There have been approximately 35 such threats over the last 3 odd days, with the government saying that pranksters are at work. Now, some media are reporting that VPN addresses have been traced back to London and to Germany. If that is the case, are these just ordinary pranksters? And at 9:30 p.m., dialogues with Sonia Singh, the Atmanirbharta in India model in defense manufacturing. What do some of the world's leading defense company CEOs have to say? That's coming up at 1:30. First, a quick look at the headlines that we are tracking. 2 have been accused linked to the Bahraich case, shootout in an encounter. The UP police claim the accused were planning to flee to Nepal. The opposition alleges that this encounter was orchestrated. The aviation minister breaks his silence on threat calls to Airline, says most of the culprits identified are minors and that there is no conspiracy angle which has emerged so far. A new low for the Indian cricket team in Test cricket. Well, almost. The host team, India, out for 46 runs. That's the lowest at home, the lowest by any team on Indian soil.
Another one for William
But let's quickly move on now to our big story, and that story has to do with the situation in Canada and India, the relationship between the two countries in a terrible situation, with New Delhi making it clear once again that the allegations made by the Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau, this time at a deposition, are simply not accurate, and that Canada has not provided evidence to India at all.
To continue to work behind the scenes to try and get India to cooperate with us. And at that point, it was primarily intelligence, not hard evidentiary proof.
As far as the allegations are concerned, PM Trudeau's own admission yesterday would indicate the value. As regards our stance on the allegations, we will naturally reject false imputations against our diplomats. There's a clear pattern to smear India for reasons best known to them.
India rebutting Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau's admission that Canada has no hard evidential proof to support allegations linking Indian government agents to the killing of Khalistani terrorist Hardeep Singh Nijjar last year. India reiterated Canada shared no evidence in support of the case, even accusing Trudeau of damaging India-Canada ties. On the Lawrence Bishnoi link, India says Canada disregarded multiple extradition requests.
There are 26 extradition requests pending with the Canadian side. We have shared security-related information with the Canadian government regarding gang members, including those of Lawrence Bishnoi gang, and requested them to arrest them. So far, no action has been taken by the Canadian side on our request.
The Ministry of External Affairs says that from the very beginning, the Canadian approach has been to make vague accusations and put the burden of denial on India. Earlier, India decided to withdraw its High Commissioner in Canada, Sanjay Kumar Verma, after Ottawa linked him and other Indian diplomats to the Nijjar case. However, Canada alleges that it was they who asked the 6 diplomats, including the High Commissioner, to leave the country. Trudeau is seeking another term as Canada's Prime Minister, but has recently faced one political setback after another. He has repeatedly been seen standing shoulder to shoulder with extremists and separatists attending Khalistan rallies, terming all this as free speech. He has also lost support of his key ally Jagmeet Singh, and on Tuesday, a Liberal MP publicly called for his resignation. There's a growing number of Liberal MPs that remain frustrated with Trudeau's leadership and lack of strategy in countering Conservative leader Pierre Poilievre. Latest to join ranks among condemned Trudeau's stand on the Nijjar killing is MP Chandra Arya from Trudeau's own party.
We know that extremism and terrorism don't recognize
and are not limited to national borders. On Canadian Khalistani violent extremism, as Canadians, we expect our federal government and its agencies to collaborate with other affected countries to protect our citizens. The persistence of Canadian Khalistani extremism is rooted in the political patronage these extremists enjoy.
Sikhs in Canada form the fourth largest ethnic group, and there is a notable faction that supports the Khalistani movement, making it politically significant for Trudeau to engage with this community. But it seems Trudeau's K card isn't playing out to plan. Bureau report for NDTV.
Well, joining us now, one of India's finest diplomats, Ambassador Gautam Bambawale, who's been tracking all of these developments very, very closely. Ambassador, do you believe that Canada has provided India with enough evidence to back their assertions that India was somehow responsible for the death of Nidjar?
Vishnu, I think the answer to your very valid question has been provided by Prime Minister Justin Trudeau of Canada himself, when very recently he said that the initial allegations last September made by him in the Parliament of Canada were without any evidence or any evidentiary proof which is required to prove these claims and allegations. So I think the answer lies there. Why he did it is a totally different question. But I think what is even more important for you and the viewers to understand is that it is India which has for many, many years, and definitely over the past few years, been asking Canada to clamp down on these gangsters, on these separatists who are targeting India from Canadian soil. And I think the Canadians have not been sensitive to India's concerns when they should have been more sensitive to our requests.
One of the points which came up at a press conference by the External Affairs Ministry today was this assertion by some in Canada that this Lawrence Bishnoi gang was somehow involved in the death of, or was somehow involved in acts of terrorism on Canadian soil. And the point that India has made is that, in fact, members of that same Lawrence Bishnoi gang are people in Canada who are roaming around freely, who we want back in our country, which sort of raises the larger point that we've got approximately 26 extradition requests, and the Canadians have not obliged. They've not accepted them.
Absolutely. I mean, we have been telling them and talking to them about various gangsters whom the Canadians have given visas to enter their own country and who are roaming freely on Canadian soil. They're making all kinds of allegations about Indian sovereignty, Indian territorial integrity, and I think they're making all kinds of claims in Canada in themselves. So I think it is in not only India's interest, but it is in Canada's interest too, to clamp down on these kind of terrorists and gangsters.
How does this contrast, Ambassador, with the way the US is looking at the situation? Because, they've issued a statement in the last 24 hours where they say that they're satisfied with the Indian response in dealing with similar but unrelated allegations.
Look, the way I look at it, Vishnu, is that the Canadians, particularly the Canadian Prime Minister, rushed to his own parliament to talk about this in an open manner and make it public. On the other hand, the Americans have taken to this issue and have handled this issue with much more gravitas, with much more maturity. And that is what you would expect from countries across the world. There is no way that we will not be able to sit across the table and discuss some of these issues with any other country. But in the case of Canada, by rushing to the public discourse and making everything public right at the start, I think Prime Minister Trudeau, Justin Trudeau, has sort of closed the door on such kind of discussions between India and Canada. It is now what I like to describe as an open tu-tu me-me between our two countries. And that is, for any diplomat, it's not a great situation to be in.
Ambassador, there was, I don't know if you can call it a silver lining, but mentioned by the External Affairs Ministry and by leaders in Canada also that the economic relationship between the two sides is important. There is investment by Canadian industry in India, in our markets, I believe. Then, of course, there is the largest cohort of Indian students who study, of international students in Canada who happen to be Indian, and, of course, the people-to-people relations, Indo-Canadians with family members back here. So there is that very strong basis of this relationship. Now, we can't do away with that, and I would suggest it's no one's contention that we should, right?
No, absolutely. There are many positives in the India-Canada relationship, Vishnu. But unfortunately, the situation with which the two governments find themselves in since September of last year, now for over a year, is that the two governments have absolutely no trust in each other. And that was one of the reasons cited by the government of India for pulling out not only our High Commissioner, but also a few other diplomats from Canada, that they did not believe that our diplomats stationed in Canada would get the adequate security and protection that are required for diplomats to be in. And I think that is what has been the casualty of this last 1.5 years, that the trust between the two governments is completely eroded and is close to zero.
Isn't it also deeply problematic that Canada would call our High Commissioner a person worth investigating, a person of interest, when in fact it's the same officer, very senior diplomat, who they've engaged in talks for 1 year on this issue? All of a sudden it becomes suspicious.
No, you're absolutely correct, Vishnu. This is a ridiculous claim by the Prime Minister of Canada. He's made this claim in public. The RCMP has made this claim in public also. But I think it is ridiculous. You know, the chief representative of the government of India in Canada cannot be complicit in any such events. And I think the Canadian government has, not only jumped the gun, but also made this ridiculous claim that the Indian ambassador, the Indian High Commissioner, is a person of interest. Something completely unheard of in diplomacy. And I don't know in which direction the government of Canada wants to take this relationship. As I said, on the political trust side, it is very close to zero. There are many other positives which continue to remain in the relationship, but you have to be able to talk to each other, government to government, in order to build on those positives. And that is not going to happen either today or in the near future.
And a final question, how is this deeply tied essentially to the politics of Justin Trudeau himself? That's an allegation made by Delhi, that there are Khalistani sympathizers in his cabinet and that he himself is a Khalistani sympathizer.
Look, I don't want to comment too much on the diplomatic, and I don't want to comment too much on the, the Canadian aspects of all this. I don't know what has pushed Prime Minister Trudeau to say all this in public, not just yesterday and day before yesterday, but for many months now. But there is very little doubt that he should have also factored in the impact of what he has been doing without providing any evidence at all. And that is, I'm quoting him himself. I'm quoting the Prime Minister of Canada, who said that he made these allegations without any evidentiary proof. And he should have factored in the impact it would have had on bilateral India-Canada relations. They have had a negative impact, and that is why we find ourselves in the situation we are in today.
What's the way out, Ambassador?
Look, there is a way out.
Is there?
The first thing we have to do is we have to be more mature about it, particularly on the Canadian side. We have to talk about this with each other between low levels of the government at first and then bring it up to a higher level. But it has to be done quietly behind closed doors. The way the US and India have handled a similar kind of situation is an example. But I don't know if the current government of Canada wants to do it in that way. That is what diplomacy is all about. That is the diplomatic way forward. But the Canadians seem to have shunned that in their relations with India, which is absolutely surprising and deeply disappointing. But there is a way forward, which is to build trust little by little, and then get the relationship back onto the rails. Whether we can do it, this particular government of Canada, I am not 100% sure. But if there is a change in government, then we can start that process with any new government which follows from a general election in Canada.
All right, Ambassador Gautam Bambawale, thank you very much, sir, for being with us. We're going to move on now to another story of huge international concern, certainly of concern over here in India. There have been 15 more hoax calls on board Indian Airlines today, affecting Air India, Vistara, Indigo, and Air India itself. Air India Express, Vistara, and Indigo. This raises the total number of hoax calls to being in the range of approximately 36, 37 over the last 3 odd days. Now, the government, for their part, say that this has to do with pranksters, but the fact that VPN addresses are being tracked, according to some media reports, in Germany and the United Kingdom seems to indicate this could be far more serious than what some are suggesting. But for whatever it is, this is what the Minister of Civil Aviation had to say.
We are ensuring that these kind of fake bomb threats don't happen in the future, and any change in rules or change in legislation we are thoroughly pursuing from our department also, so that it becomes a strict barrier for people who are trying to do these kind of prank things. We can't comment anything like a conspiracy. We are talking to everyone. We are talking to the airlines. We are talking to security agencies.
Sanjay Azhar has been tracking this with me for the last couple of days. He joins me now. Sanjay, does this appear to be pranksters at work?
Good evening, Vishnu. Thank you for having me. And, I'm just amazed that our minister continues to say these things, because it's pretty obvious that, I've said this yesterday, I think, on your show and earlier, civil aviation is not just about social media and appearing on TV. There's so much more serious stuff in this. And yes, we caught a juvenile who had done 3 or 4 of these. But now we're talking numbers in the 28, 30, 35. It's not a joke. And I was quite certain that, if not a conspiracy, there is a concerted effort to make us look like a banana nation. There is, obviously people, the internet is so sophisticated today. I can be sitting in Kalba Devi and shooting off threats from bouncing them off from Germany to Tokyo to Russia, coming back to the US or Canada, and then bringing them to India. So you need an agency that can track this. Now, when you look at the US in comparison, post 9/11, Vishnu, they amended their rules. Anything to do with an aircraft, cyber terrorism, or aviation threats, bombs at airports, or became a pure terrorism, and the FBI became a federal crime. The FBI took it over, and they had powers with Homeland Security and MISA to look into all these things. We don't have that. We need the Ministry of Home Affairs, the Department of IT, the Ministry of External Affairs, the MOCA, of course, Ministry of Civil Aviation, to have a concerted effort with a unified team, because you've got multiplicity of agencies here. And we can't be, treating this so lightly. We're still talking about this is not a conspiracy or that is not. And then, as you rightly say, some people are talking about VPNs in UK, VPNs in Germany, and I've heard South Africa. So there are a lot of international VPNs involved. Now you need an agency that can track this down. And then you need somebody who can penalize them. You can't have one Sahar police station, one Chennai airport police station, one Delhi airport. Let it go to the CBI or the NIA or somebody like that, because you've got, you yourself have shown on your channel, I've seen, Singapore fighter jets going up.
There was a fighter jet today.
Today as well, yes.
On that flight into Heathrow.
Yeah, Heathrow. So we've seen that everywhere. And
airports around the world put our planes into isolation. It's a huge problem for passengers. They don't get their luggage back on time.
And look at the fear psychosis. It's being portrayed now that Indian aviation is unsafe for passengers. It's going to impact us greatly. And we need to, sort this out.
All right, Sanjay, we leave it over there. Thank you very much for joining us. So a huge concern, for the last couple of days. But Sanjay, let me just come back to you for a couple of other points. What do you believe is is the way ahead for our airlines. There's not very much that they can actually do at this stage. They can only engage the government to a point. The government isn't really sharing very much information with them. There is a financial loss that they're going through each and every flight that this takes place. What can our airlines do?
Well, Vishnu, I only believe that, I've said this and tweeted this earlier. I think, airlines have to reinvent themselves a little bit and ensure pre-departure screening is, almost at bomb threat levels. That's one of the things. Passengers have to be sensitized to the fact that this is now become almost a national calamity, because you're getting, 3-4 every afternoon, every evening. So over the last 4 days, you've almost hit 40, and that's incredible. That's the other thing. I mean, here there's a case here for the airlines to approach the government and say, let's help me recover this money, and therefore the government must have in place a procedure where it recovers it as and when they catch these guys. These are a lot of things that we need to do. And other than that, I can't see the airlines being able to do too much, because, the SOPs, international SOPs say the moment the pilot in command gets the information, he must divert, land immediately, and then isolate and sanitize the aircraft and do a bomb check. So that's a thorough SOP. So that's all we can do.
And do you believe in a situation like this, there has to be a lot more by way of communication from the government? Because what we've seen today are some assertions that said that, look, anybody who's found responsible for this will be put on the, they will not be allowed to travel in the future on Indian aviation. In fact, we already have far more stringent regulation in place. They can be jailed for life. I mean, those laws already exist. So you don't need new laws which in fact water down some of the, the punishment per se against potential offenders, right?
No, we already have very strong laws in place, and no-fly list is the smallest. I mean, I would say treat it as anti-terror action and jail them for the longest possible period. And I'd say 5 years jail. Jail is minimum that I'd give somebody who does this deliberately. You do one of these cases, and you're going to see everybody will stop. Everybody who's in India, if there is somebody playing mischief outside, then you can't help it. You already have 66F of the IT Act. We have Section 111 of the BNS. We have 354. We have enough of provisions under the existing laws to deal with all these. So we don't have to create a new law right away. What you need is a new SOP with a ministry that has the powers to execute. You see, the Civil Aviation Ministry can only file an FIR at worst, or the airlines can do that. But if you had the Ministry of Home Affairs, they could engage everybody else and make this work, instantly. So I think we need to get a little more serious, a lot more serious rather, and get this focused going. I also believe that the ministry must engage with the stakeholders, which are the airports, which are the airlines, at least for the next week or 2 weeks, or on a daily basis, literally.
No, absolutely.
Because communication is the key, whether from a government or the airlines.
We'll leave it over here, Sanjay, because at this stage, both of us are searching for answers. And if there are foreign agencies who are helping us in this, that would be welcome. If this threat is international, then the way it's being reported and the reality of the story is something which is very different. Thanks very much for being with us. From a low in Indian aviation to a low in Indian cricket, I'm afraid the news isn't very good today, is it? India, the most powerful cricketing nation in the world. Well, we witnessed a new low in Test cricket today, as in the India-New Zealand Test match. We were shot out for 46 runs. 46 runs in a Test match first innings, the lowest at home, the lowest by any team on Indian soil.
Denied the wish to bat on a moist pitch, the Kiwi bowlers were all over the Indian batters right from the word go. Their bowling deadly and accurate. Rohit Sharma done in by the trickery of Tim Southee. Virat Kohli did the daring to move up to number 3 in the absence of Gill. Debutant Will O'Rourke claimed him. Sarfaraz Khan could not save himself from the temptation of a lofted shot either. Matt Henry breathing fire. Kiwi debutant O'Rourke claimed 4 for 22. While it was Matt Henry who did the ultimate damage, exposing India's vulnerabilities as he grabbed 5 for 15. India put on a pedestrian batting show and was shot out for 46, their lowest at home and the lowest by any team in India. Kiwis in reply showed patience and application. Devon Conway scored 91. Worst for India as Rishabh Pant left the field with a likely injury. And after skittling India for just 46, the Kiwis ended the day at 183 with a lead of 134 runs. India left with a mountain to climb.
Well, it's time now for us to take a short break. Up after that, a very special program, Dialogue with Sonia Singh, as we take a look at the future of the India-US defense relationship with top CEOs from American defense firms. That's up next.
New day, new show, a new experience.
Start your day with the news, not views.
Hello, Moto.
Motorola Edge 50 Pro, world's first AI-powered pro-grade camera.
I don't care for no songs and proses. I don't care for no sweet boys with roses. All I want is a touch of love.
I've been reporting on all issues, big and small, from Andhra Pradesh, Telangana, rest of South India, bringing you all the action, all that you need to know, all that you want to know.
The energy of Maximum City is infectious. I bring in that energy in our news coverage from financial capital Mumbai. India's IT capital is always buzz. It's literally a city that never sleeps. And I keep you ahead on all the Bengaluru buzz.
Covering from the southernmost part of India over the last 23 years, I bring in-depth and 360-degree coverage from the Dravidian heartland.
The land of Mishti is also known for its bitter politics. I have seen much water flow under the Howrah Bridge, covering Bengal in all its vivid colors.
Stay informed and entertained with the new and updated NDTV News app. You can watch all our channels live, listen to podcasts, read breaking and exclusive news from around the world and more. Download the NDTV app today and get access to the best journalism and storytelling on your smartphone or tablet. The NDTV app. News that matters to you.
I don't care for no songs and proses. I don't care for no sweet boys with roses. All I want is a touch of love.
तालियों के साथ हम स्वागत करेंगे आदरणीय मोदी जी का।
छत्रपति शिवाजी महाराज की। एजेंडा फक्त करप्शन फर्स्ट, आमचा अजेंडा आहे नेशन फर्स्ट.
घोषणा आणि जनतेचे पैसे लुटणं.
कट कमिशन आणि करप्शनला आमच्याकडे थारा नाही. त्यांचा परिवारवाद आमचा महाराष्ट्रवाद.
महाराष्ट्रामध्ये 1,75,000 जागा रिक्त आहेत. मग का मिळत नाही? राज्याची जनतेच्या घमाच्या पैशाची तिजोरी लुटण्यासाठी हे सरकार आहे.
Special dialogue on the India-US defense partnership and how crucial it is to actually establish a secure future. Let me start with you, Mr. Blair. You just heard Mr. Kumar make the point that India is open to doing business with US defense companies. And I think what's been really crucial, which we've seen in the last years, is how the top leadership of both countries, now this is at the level of Prime Minister Modi, President Biden, the defense minister making his first visit as a new cabinet minister to the US, and key agreements being signed, the reference to the SOSA agreement. What do you think, as we see this relationship really accelerate and go into top gear, what are the top 3 things you'd like to see happen, and how would you respond to Mr. Kumar's invitation?
Well, I'd like to first start and, recognize the tremendous progress with these foundational agreements. We could not collaborate in terms of bringing our best technologies and the collaboration transfer of technology co-production, co-development in India without the accomplishments over the last 8 years. I think you have to start with what's the foundation we have. I was with Vivek Lal here in 2006 when the first defense offset policy was being implemented. And we as US companies had to find a way to position for major procurements, a fighter competition at the time. And at Lockheed Martin, we established a joint venture with Tata, too, actually. The first was Lockheed Martin, making in India, making for the world, producing C-130J empennages as the sole source, and now we've delivered over 225. That was a catalyst for the private sector defense ecosystem. Sikorsky did as well on S-92 helicopter cabins. And, you know, we did that out of opportunity, not offset obligation, as everyone thinks. It was out of opportunity. So I have to take us back to, you know, an earlier foundation that was set that allowed us to sit here today and look at the vast increase in production in India and for the world. And now to where we're, I think in India, the 50% of our defense exports are going to the US. And so that's allowed us now to be in a position. So to answer your question, what do we need to do going forward? We need to take it to the next level. We have to take it up to the platform level. And when we look at a platform, we bring the platform and our tier one partners. And that brings a level of transfer technology like the GE engine, which is foundational and transformational. And we see that opportunity, whether it's fighter aircraft, transport aircraft, or helicopters, building on the foundation of subsystems and taking it to a full delivered platform for India, for the world.
And Dr. Lal, I'd like to bring you in here because you've actually seen that journey, I mean, of course, based in the US, and we've gone really 360 degrees. It's amazing to see how far we've come from a time when there was, you know, technology sanctions and blocks, and to the kind of accelerated cooperation. And the building blocks of the whole India-US defense relationship have actually been completely reshaped. Now, we've had that major drone deal, which was cleared at the time Prime Minister Modi was in the US. It's now through Congress. How much do you think deals like this and this mega deal really, you got Sea Guardian drones, Sky Guardian drones, what's the next frontier and how transformational is this going to be for the relationship?
Thank you, Sonia. Yes, indeed. I mean, as I've observed the journey over the last 20 years and from where we started to where we've come, and as Bill rightly said, I mean, we've gone through various stages in this relationship, but certainly a lot of the building blocks in terms of the foundational agreements and, you know, India being part of MTCR and so forth, that has really catapulted to that relationship to being at such a stage that we are really poised at an inflection point for the future. I think the kind of collaborations is not simply built to print that's being envisaged, but actual entire platforms that can be designed, developed, and manufactured in India for the global export market. And so that's I think where the trajectory is going. Also, I think the trajectory includes relationships with startup companies, and John has mentioned that quite passionately in his remarks in multiple occasions, and we in the defense industry see that happening. The startup ecosystem in India is very robust. I think some of the players are doing, world-class projects where we are partnering, for example, with an artificial intelligence company and a semiconductor company. And these are young companies with a lot of ambition, tapping into the global talent pool. And if I were to point to one segment of the Indian industry which I see the most potential, I would certainly say it's a startup ecosystem, because they bring a lot of innovation. And it's a two-way street. It's not only about technology coming into India, but some of the technology is going back to the US, and you'll see some of these startups with contracts with Space Force and other entities in the US. So it's very heartening to see, and I think innovation is at the root of everything we all want to be doing here collectively, and I think the future is very bright.
Mr. Shockey, if you could come in at this point. We saw, of course, the Quad summit meet also in the United States, and the Prime Minister talked of the Quad as a force for global good. But of course, the reality remains that we live in extremely turbulent geopolitical times. And at a time like this, especially for defense companies, for defense cooperation, security, collaboration, and ideas exchange, how crucial do you think this US-India partnership is?
First of all, thank you for the question. And Mr. Secretary, thank you for your opening remarks. For somebody who's only been on the job for a month and a half, it feels like you already have a firm grip of your portfolio. So well done. Sonia, to your point, as you talk about whether it's ISET or security of the supply agreement or major defense partnerships, as the governments come closer, what you really see is US industry and India industry coming closer and closer together. We as a company at RTX and our three businesses, Collins Aerospace, Pratt & Whitney, and Raytheon, we've been operating in India for about 70 years, so we have a long relationship. We've been manufacturing here for about 25 years. In fact, when I was here with this group last year, I think our employee count was 6,000 people. Just in the 1 year since then, we've already grown by 1,000 here. We've got plans to continue growing. If I look at our Pratt & Whitney business, 3 years ago, we had 30 engineers. Today we have 700. In 2025, we're going to have 1,400 engineers. So we become closer and closer as the governments become closer. And I think it's an enduring relationship, irrespective of administrations. You see the United States and India, continue to have mutual interests, partnerships around the world, mutual security interests, and the ability to project peace and stability around the world, again, partnered with the industry as one of the leading forces. So.
I think that's interesting one, Mr. Gupta. It's great to have you on as well. And just that point really about the ecosystem of US and India, the defense ecosystem, and how it joins in as a partner really in a much deeper, much more abiding, and really a relationship which is now based on growing trust between the United States and India. How do you see the defense ecosystem playing a role here?
Look, I think as it relates to building the ecosystem, we have to be bold. The days of having an asset-light approach in the ecosystem for India-US collaboration, that's 10 years ago, right? You're not going to have a hotel suite office somewhere, parachute people in and out, and expect to succeed in this market and expect the US-India ecosystem to succeed, right? You have to be fully invested not just in some of the things that Dr. Lal was talking about, the ability to co-develop and design platforms here, but also fully invested in the long-term operational readiness of these assets, the sustainment. So we're talking about having the ability to train here in India. We're talking about having the ability to sustain and to maintain for MRO here in India. We're talking about the ability to develop an ecosystem of suppliers that support not only the Indian defense industrial base, but also the US defense industrial base. And when we talk about the suppliers, we have to be bold there as well. Look, both us, Lockheed, we have joint ventures with Tata, large companies like Tata, large relationships with Mahindra, with Godrej, with Wipro, with L&T, and on and on. But that next tier of Indian industry, the MSMEs, are also going to drive that ecosystem's growth over the long term. So we have to be bold and we have to make those investments to develop many of those. That might mean pulling them from other industries. That might mean going and working with an auto supplier and working closely with them over the course of 5 years to make them certified to come into aerospace, right? These are all investments of time, of treasure, and of experience. But I think if we can do that, it's going to pay long-term dividends.
And Mr. Kumar, we've heard all these different perspectives, but I think that important point on building up the trust ecosystem as well, and the belief that US defense industry is here to be true partners, that there's going to be a sharing of technology, training. What is India looking at when we are talking about building this as a deeper partnership, about creating a new ecosystem?
Well, thank you very much, Sonia, for asking this question. In fact, it's always better to understand each other very well. So US, India understand well. The requirement of India is understood by US and their industry doyens. Our requirement has been very categorically phrased by Honorable Prime Minister that we want to become Atmanirbhar, that is self-reliant. When we say we want to become Atmanirbhar, self-reliant, that means not only we should be amongst the nation which are able to safeguard our strategic interest and our territorial boundary, but we should continue to do in all situations. So we should be able to design, manufacture, develop, sustain our armed forces. And that's why the reliance on Atmanirbharta is there. Apart from the other goals of creating the ecosystem of industries, of cutting-edge level technology, which not only help defense industry, but also rub positively on the civil industry side, and creating the job opportunity in this country. So our objective is clear. We understand the US understand us, and over last many years, as has been shared by my fellow panelists, that there is a clear understanding of each other point of view and desire to work towards achieving those goals. And what we provide, as Mr. Gupte was saying, that we have big industry house, we also have very resilient MSMEs, startup companies, the organizations, individuals, research institute who can do a lot in the cutting edge technologies of AI, machine learning, and also in the space technologies. And we also have market, and we provide opportunity to create alternate, reliable, sustainable supply chain for the US industries, for their supply to the rest of the world, including US itself. So obviously, we believe that a win-win partnership is possible, apart from our goals as two big democracies, the reliable democracies of the world. Our other interest also allows to create win-win partnership, and our industries are also capable to create win-win partnership to the US industries. I hope things are aligned. Now the requirement is to continue this process and take relevant decision at the relevant time.
Mr. Blair, if you could come in on that. You mentioned earlier about the importance of the foundational agreements. How crucial do you think the security of supplies agreement actually is when we talk about building this partnership? And also, of course, given the fact that for India, the Indo-Pacific remains an area of security concern, what do you think that this actually, the Prime Minister said this about Quad, that we're not a force against anybody. This is a coming together for a global good. How do you actually see that play out in the current security environment and the need for building the US-India partnership in that context?
No, it's a great question. You know, from a security of supply agreement, it's going to, as I said earlier, build on a foundation to take us to the next level in terms of two-way collaboration. And I think at some of the earlier panels, there are startups today that are contributing into the US DoD and Space Force. And that's a great exchange, as well as the investments that are being made here in India. But one of the things I'd like to address to the Secretary's comment is we talk about critical and emerging technologies. I think we need to talk about a critical need. And we think about resilient supply chains. We have a critical need for aerospace and defense materials. We heard on an earlier panel about rare earth metals, and there is capability today in India that I think through the foundational agreements as well as the security of supply agreement, and I would suggest maybe through a public-private partnership, including universities, we need to take it to the next level, because with what's happening geopolitically, we don't have the same access to titanium, high-strength aluminum, rare earth metals in some of our neighboring countries that are not not supplying. And that becomes, I'll say, a strategic need, a critical need, whether it's aircraft engine technology and producing here in India. And we want to meet, ultimately, the goal of 50% indigenous content. That's a high bar. Mm-hmm. If you look at the light combat aircraft, when that went into service, it was not 50% indigenous content. It had to stepwise get to that level. So I think we need to collaborate and look at how the policy adapts, mm-hmm. and the government investment with industry can take us to the level of what we aspire to. I mentioned at the platform level, but really at all the systems level. It's going to take all of us working together.
That's an ambitious target. And I said, no better place to state it than on this panel. But Dr. Lal, you've been talking, of course, and you mentioned to me that you actually began at NASA as an engineer, and we're seeing what all the new breakthroughs are every day. We saw that, well, that parallel parking yesterday happening on SpaceX. But space and AI, which the Defense Secretary also mentioned in his speech as really the frontiers of the future. Do you think that's somewhere the US-India partnership can really get the early starter advantage?
I think so. I think there is great potential in space. I think you've seen greater interest in the United States, but also in India, and there are a lot of overlap that has been talked about earlier today as well. I do feel, just to footstomp something Salil and Bill said, from an indigenization perspective, MRO is going to be critical for a lot of the platforms, and the indigenization, as you develop the MRO, will be a catalyst to getting a whole supply chain put into place, as the Honorable Secretary has mentioned in his remarks, which is a requirement. And I think the same thing will go as we look at opportunities in space. And I know space is also going through its own policy changes to allow private sector to get involved more so in India. And I therefore believe there will be greater partnerships. And there, again, going back to my comment on startup companies, there are several startups in space in India that are now launching rockets of their own. And I see that as a growing sector. I do see space defense as another frontier that will come up. I think communications in space is going to be another area of potential joint collaboration, other than the manned space missions, etc. So on artificial intelligence, I do feel that it's like electricity. Artificial intelligence was around 40 years ago as well, but now you're getting the backbone infrastructure in place to be able to leverage it for something useful, and it will change the way we do business in almost all the sectors. But I think relative to what we're seeing some of the startup companies doing, and we are, for example, producing a joint product with one of the artificial intelligence companies for data dissemination and data management, which I think is going to be very important, especially as we talk about deterrence of war and deterrence of that situation in the geopolitics. I think one of the key parts of that is going to be how much information one knows, and intelligent information one knows, and that's through persistent surveillance. And I think AI has a big role to play in that.
Mr. Shawky, if I could really bring you in on this, India's focus on really Make in India, Atmanirbhar, and indigenization. How does that really play out with, say, what US defense companies and what they're looking at as well? Mr. Blair mentioned the high bar for us in India. It's fantastic to see the jobs, the local supply chains, the technology coming in. How does it play out from a US perspective?
Well, I think as we all struggle to recover from COVID and the fragile supply chains, I think as demand for our systems increases, we can't meet that demand in our US facilities. So it's not like we're taking jobs from one area and moving them over here. We're trying to meet worldwide demand, set up a resilient ecosystem so we have redundancy, so we have that security of supply chain. And I think it's a win-win. And I think both governments view it that way. And I know policymakers in the United States see it that way too, because we, along with a number of my colleagues, we continue to be asked to produce faster, to make more of them. And right now our factories can't support that, and our supply chain can't support that. So it's incumbent upon all of us to work together to meet that demand, meet that security need that we have around the world. So I think it's a win-win, and I think both sides recognize it. Now it's on us to capitalize on that.
Mr. Gupta, if I could just bring you in another aspect. I mean, we all live in a multipolar world now, and really it's a time when India especially is, as our foreign minister would say, it's really the India way. We're looking at global partnerships. We've seen many companies vying for getting a slice of the pie, as it were, in India. How do you think, what's different about the India-US relationship? We've talked about the shared democratic values. How much of an abiding partnership do you think? How strong does that make the partnership, and what's special about this?
Well, I think, look, as an Indian American, you know, I grew up at a time when perhaps politically speaking, India and the US were in a bit of a different place. But interestingly enough, culturally speaking, the people-to-people ties were always incredibly strong. And what you've seen now over the last 25 years is the evolution such that you have strength across the board. And you have that trust that the SecDP was talking about earlier that has really developed and strengthened. And as you have that, I think it creates a tremendous number of opportunities. I think you've seen changes in policy, right? You've seen those foundational agreements and things like that Bill was talking about. But I think you also see you see comfort around things like intellectual property. You know, there are places in the world where the U.S. and U.S. companies have had nervousness about that. That is not as much the case in our business in India. You see this incredible step up in quality of manufacturing. So tomorrow, the Indian Foundation for Quality Management is having its symposium here in Delhi. This is an organization that wouldn't have existed 15 years ago. But quality in Indian manufacturing is recognized by US companies. Let me just give you an example. The global aerospace supply chain, as Mr. Shaki just noted, is struggling, right? Especially also in the US. It's probably delivering somewhere between 60 to 80%, somewhere in there on average, on-time delivery. For most of the, I would say pretty much all of these companies that are sitting on the dais who have supply chains in India, I am almost certain that number is in the high 90s for all of us. It is breathtaking performance. And that builds trust, right? It is just comes down to performing, and Indian companies have done that. And so, you know, that trust deserves to grow over time.
Mr. Kumar, I know you've just come in and taken just about a month and a half, but do you see this partnership as really the one which has the potential to scale up or touch new frontiers? Do you see we've had a very exciting last 3 years and suddenly a flurry of agreements in the last 6 months as well. What do you see as the big targets or your ambitions for this in the years to come?
It's difficult to quantify for me to quantify these targets, big mission. But as I see is the trust between two industrial cultures, back in USA, Mr. Gupta is saying that now US company are understanding that, are recognizing that the quality of output given by Indian companies. Our need for technology is very clear, and our desire to develop those technologies with the leaders in that technology in USA is also very clear. Our capability, we have demonstrated earlier, we will continue to demonstrate. So the way I see is that the relationship is going to be strong and strong in coming years, not only between government to government, but also industry to industry. And we are deepening that relationship by taking this relationship between startup and startups, MSMEs and MSMEs. I think that we have all the ingredients to manufacture in India, to develop in India, to carry out the research activities, not immediately, but down the line to develop the product which can be manufactured and supplied to the rest of the world. We have all the talent here. I hope in coming decade, we will see very, very strong relationship between US industries and Indian industries, not only in defense sector, but also in other sectors.
Mr. Kumar and everyone on the panel, Salil, Bill, Jeff and Vivek, thank you all for being here. It's an absolutely fantastic and I think very energizing and interesting discussion. Thank you, and thank you for being such a great audience. Thank you.
Hello, Moto.
Motorola Edge 50 Pro, world's first AI-powered pro-grade camera.
New day, new show, a new experience.
Start your day with the news, not views.
We bring you stories that matter
and impact your life.
News that informs and keeps you ahead. From Maximum City, Mumbai,
to the seat of power, Delhi,
NDTV brings you the best breakfast show. Breakfast news on NDTV, 8 a.m. every day. This week on India Ascents. Why Canada and US probe on Khalistani terrorists have taken different trajectories. Dr. Jaishankar speaks terror to Pakistan on Pakistani soil. What's the future of the India-Pakistan relationship? Why IBM thinks India is the next AI capital of the world. All this and more only on India Ascents with me, Gauri Dwivedi, at these timings on the NDTV network.
I don't care for no songs and proses. I don't care for no sweet boys with roses. All I want is a touch of love.
Stay informed and entertained with the new and updated NDTV News app. You can watch all our channels live, listen to podcasts, read breaking and exclusive news from around the world and more. Download the NDTV app today and get access to the best journalism and storytelling on your smartphone or tablet. The NDTV app. News that matters to you.
तालियों के साथ हम स्वागत करेंगे आदरणीय मोदी जी का।
छत्रपति शिवाजी महाराज की। त्यांचा अजेंडा फक्त करप्शन फर्स्ट, आमचा अजेंडा आहे नेशन फर्स्ट.
घोषणा आणि जनतेचे पैसे लुटणं.
कट कमिशन आणि करप्शनला आमच्याकडे थारा नाही. त्यांचा परिवारवाद आमचा महाराष्ट्रवाद.
महाराष्ट्रामध्ये 1,75,000 जागा रिक्त आहेत. मग का भरत नाही? राज्याची जनतेच्या घमाच्या पैशाची तिजोरी लुटण्यासाठी हे सरकार आहे.
पूर्वीच्या सरकारच्या काळामध्ये निधी देताना त्यांना असं वाटायचं की त्यांच्याच खिशातले पैसे चालले. शेतकऱ्यांना मोफत वीज देण्याचं काम आपल्या सरकारने सुरू केलं.
New day, new show, a new experience.
Start your day with the news, not views.
We bring you stories that matter
and impact your life.
News that informs and keeps you ahead. From Maximum City, Mumbai,
to the seat of power, Delhi,
NDTV brings you the best breakfast show. Breakfast news on NDTV, 8 a.m. every day. This week on India Ascents. Why Canada and US probe on Khalistani terrorists have taken different trajectories. Dr. Jaishankar speaks terror to Pakistan on Pakistani soil. What's the future of the India-Pakistan relationship? Why IBM thinks India is the next AI capital of the world. All this and more only on India Ascents with me, Gauri Dwivedi, at these timings on the NDTV network.
I've been reporting on all issues, big and small, from Andhra Pradesh, Telangana, rest of
Two accused linked to the Bahraich case shot in an encounter. The Uttar Pradesh police claims that the accused were planning to flee to Nepal. Opposition, in the meanwhile, alleges that the encounter was orchestrated. Maharashtra elections prep picks up pace. Mahaghadi holds a meeting in Mumbai over seat share pact. Sources claim that the dispute is still over the 25 seats. Aviation Minister breaks silence on the threat calls to airlines. He says most of the culprits identified are minors and that there is no conspiracy angle which has emerged so far. The Indian government slams Canadian government for the deepening rift between the two countries, says the Canadian Prime Minister is responsible for precipitating the crisis and that there is a clear pattern to run a smear campaign against India. In the backdrop of diplomatic tensions between India and Canada, India flags Canada's non-cooperation in extraditing Bishnoi gang members. The MEA says there are 26 extradition requests pending with the Canadian government. The Israeli military claims there is a possibility that it has killed Hamas leader Yahya Sinwar following an operation in the Gaza Strip. Sinwar, largely believed to be the mastermind of the October 7th attack by Hamas on Israel. Hello and welcome. You're watching NDTV 24/7. I'm Osama Shah. The big story that we're tracking at the top of this hour is the encounter in Bahraich. Now, two accused in the Bahraich violence case, they were shot at by the police, Uttar Pradesh police, on Thursday while they were allegedly attempting to flee to Nepal. Both these accused, they have been identified as Sarfaraz and Muhammad Talib. According to the UP Special Task Force Chief Amitabh Yash, the two were shot on the border after the police had received information about their presence in the area. Remember, the violence broke out in Bahraich's Maharajganj on October 13 over loud music during a Durga Puja immersion procession in which Ram Gopal Mishra, a 22-year-old, had died of gunshot injuries. The incident, it triggered vandalism and arson in the area as houses, shops, showrooms, hospitals and vehicles were torched by mobs, prompting the police to lodge multiple FIRs against unidentified rioters and some named accused. The police have so far rounded up 55 suspects, besides deploying heavy security in the mixed population town, where tension has escalated over the playing of the song.
ये तो पुलिस के ऊपर निर्भर करता है कि किन परिस्थितियों में उन्होंने एनकाउंटर किया। हर एनकाउंटर की मैजिस्ट्रियल इंक्वायरी भी होती है। यूपी में 212 एनकाउंटर अभी तक हो चुके हैं। आज तक एक पे भी प्रश्न कोर्ट ने नहीं उठाया है। मैं पूरा आश्वस्त हूँ कि पुलिस को लगा होगा तभी इनकाउंटर किया, और जबकि दूसरे व्यक्ति के पैर में गोली मारी है। तो इसीलिए जो भी इस पर डिबेट कर रहे हैं और जो भी इस पर उछल रहे हैं कि फर्जी इनकाउंटर, उनको ये समझ में आना चाहिए कि पुलिस पहले पैर में गोली मारती है, जब कंट्रोल नहीं होता, अपनी जान पे खतरा होता है, तभी किसी की जान जाती है।
अखिलेश यादव इस पे सवाल खड़े कर रहे हैं।
वो तो करेंगे, अखिलेश नहीं करेंगे तो कौन सवाल खड़ा करेगा।
ये घटनाएं जो हो रही हैं वो सरकार की नाकामी की वजह से हो रही हैं। सरकार अपनी नाकामी छिपाने के लिए इनकाउंटर कर रही है। अगर इनकाउंटर से ही लॉ एंड ऑर्डर बेहतर हो रहा होता तो अभी उत्तर प्रदेश कई आंकड़ों में और प्रदेशों से अच्छा होता। जब वहां पर तय था, पुलिस की जानकारी में था, तो आखिरकार आपने शांतिपूर्ण ढंग से क्यों नहीं प्रोसेशन को ले जाने दिया या उस कार्यक्रम को संपन्न क्यों नहीं करा पाए। जो लोग एक शांतिपूर्ण तरीके से एक कस्बे, गांव का या आसपास के लोगों का कार्यक्रम शांतिपूर्ण से संपन्न नहीं करा पा रहे हैं, उनसे लॉ ऑर्डर की क्या उम्मीद करेंगे आप।
An unfortunate incident occurred when Durga Idol's immersion procession was going on, and Ram Gopal Mishra was killed in a firing during clashes between two communities. And after that clash, a riot-like situation occurred in Bahraich on Monday afternoon, and police were searching for the main accused, and 5 main accused, including Sarfaraz and Talim, arrested after an encounter in Bahraich near Indo-Nepal border. Both were in police custody and they were the police were trying to recover the arms which was used in Bahraich riot, and when they reached the spot where the arms were hidden, then they tried to fire on policemen. Then in an exchange of fire, cops fired at Sarfaraz and Talim, and both were injured and was arrested. And after this incident, they were admitted in CSC Nanwara, but doctors said that they are out of danger. As far as political issues are concerned, opposition hit Yogi government saying that this is a planned encounter, this is a fake encounter, and Akhilesh Yadav, Ajay Rai, UP Congress chief, AIM UP president Shaukat Ali, all blamed Yogi government that this is a fake encounter and government want to set a specific narrative for a political gain, and that's why they are doing such kind of encounters. But Yogi government is firm and claiming that they'll prove this as a real encounter in court. They are not supposed to answer to opposition because they are just blaming about a fake encounter. So obviously this is not the first time, but earlier also some questions were raised by opposition about encounters, and this time also in the Bahraich riot case, 5 main accused were arrested, including Sarfaraz and Talim, who were arrested after an encounter today afternoon. And earlier also police registered more than 10 FIRs and arrested more than 50 accused, and also identification of those people who were accused in this case. The police is trying to identify and arrest them.
All right, the recent encounter in Uttar Pradesh, it has raised several concerns and questions, and we'll try and understand what this entire situation is, this case is, and try and listen from both the sides. There are questions of allegations of it being a fake encounter. The family members, they have accused that they have in fact expressed fear that these people may have been killed in a fake encounter. This raises questions about the transparency and accountability of law enforcement agencies. There have been political reactions. We heard what Samajwadi Party Chief Akhilesh Yadav had to say. He has accused the state government of using encounters to mask its failures. There are also human rights concerns. This encounter has sparked concerns about human rights violation and the need for a thorough investigation. In fact, let's listen in from all the stakeholders here. I'm currently joined by Anila Singh, National Spokesperson of the BJP. I also have Mr. Ghanshyam Tiwari, Spokesperson of the Samajwadi Party. I'll also be joined in just a short while from now by Sharad Pradhan, Senior Journalist. Anila ji, let me start by asking you, the Samajwadi Party Chief, Akhilesh Yadav, he says that this is just to mask your government's failures. Firstly, your reaction to that?
My Ram Ram to all, and I'm not at all surprised what Akhilesh Yadav has said. He is simply trying to portray again. He is simply again advocating for all those, because of the vote bank politics, to appease them so that he can secure the vote bank, because it can be divided to so many political parties who have got the same mindset of appeasement. So this is simple, a try for that. But in reality, I can say one thing, that this is the example of a nation, of a country, and especially if I talk about Uttar Pradesh as well, where a majority population is always being targeted by the minority, because majority of the political parties, they come up and they start advocating for their wrong deeds. In this case as well, see, investigation is on. All the facts and figures are going to be in front of everybody. All right. But in this case also, when these people, they attacked the procession, when they insulted Bhagwa flag, this child, because he was just 21, 22 years old youth, he climbed and he tried to remove the Islamic flag. And in return, he was shot on back. He was tortured. This is what they did, for whom Akhilesh Yadav ji is advocating. Bahut daya bhav dikha rahe hain. And he's saying it's a fake encounter. How do you know it is a fake encounter? You did not utter a single word that how that boy was tortured and he was shot in the back just because he is Hindu. That was his own, this was his solo fault, that he was born as a Hindu. You are advocating for all those people. You had been advocating for all those people who have always stood with the lawlessness. And this is the characteristic of your political party.
Okay.
We are not going to tolerate it. In Uttar Pradesh, Yogi Adityanath, finally, in Uttar Pradesh, Yogi Adityanath ji is marching on the path of peace and harmony, restoring law and order, which was chaotic before 2017. But if somebody will try to create or generate some sort of lawlessness, then this olive branch in Yogi Adityanath ji can be, it can something else can come in his hands. So if they have to say what they are more than free to say.
All right.
We are happy about it.
Let's
but
get a
we are
reaction.
not going to change our path.
All right. Let's get a reaction from Mr. Ghanshyam Tiwari. So why does your party feel that this is an orchestrated encounter? And react to what Anila Singh ji is saying there, that it is all about appeasement politics for the Samajwadi Party here.
Good evening, Osama, to you, the viewers, and my fellow co-panelists. Three things are important. One is I agree with Anila ji that there is a small minority that wants to threaten the majority. And that majority is PDA, Pichda, Dalit, Alpsankyak, Adi, Abadi. And that small minority is people who believe in kangaroo courts, who can run with bulldozers, who can create fake encounters, who treat people as fools. They think that the common man does not have common sense. Why do I say so? It is absolutely foolish of Uttar Pradesh police to create a script such that it does give them the headline. But the fact is that this police who is accused of 15 custodial deaths a day, who's accused of atrocities such as bulldozer, creates a script such that two accused are taken to a spot where they have a loaded gun. A layman who has nothing to do with police will also ask the accused that is the gun loaded or not. But the police, the intelligent police, by the dozens, wearing all the gadgets, did not ask the accused that is the gun that you have hidden loaded or not. Such is the intelligence of either the police or their belief in the intelligence of common man. That's point number one. Two, that such is the intelligence of the police that the sister of one of the accused appealed to the Prime Minister and the Chief Minister yesterday that her brother would be shot at. Where is the humanity of people in BJP? I don't understand. I don't think a single BJP leader would let their son stand up on any pulpit like the deceased Ram Gopal and want them to change a flag here and there. They want the common poor youth of India to become fodder to their hate, while they all support big businessmen. They all have their children across the world doing extremely well, building businesses. They want the common youth to be fodder of their hate. Final point. Why is BJP doing it? Today, the Prime Minister was attending a meeting of all Chief Ministers of NDA. The headline could easily have been about NDA, but they wanted the headline to be on this foolish staged-like encounter. Why? Because BJP realized in 2024 that their hate machine in Uttar Pradesh that harvested so much for them has gone bunkum. That hate machine is over. People have defeated that hate machine. They are no longer the self-acclaimed proprietors of Hinduism. People have claimed their religion, they are claiming their state, and BJP, this hate machine, no matter how many fake encounters they do, how many children they poison with their criminal intent, Uttar Pradesh will recover to harmony, it will recover to progress. Criminals will not dictate the terms to the state and the country.
Mr. Tiwari, you talked about police action. The police says that it's their right to retaliate if attacked. Why do you doubt that explanation?
Well, Osama, very simple. Ask any viewer. Would any sophisticated, commonsensical policeman group, not one, by the dozens, take two accused to recover guns and not ask them is the gun loaded or not? What kind of foolishness would it take for a group of a dozen policemen to resort to this simple tactic? And what were they going after? Encounters have been there. They have been questioned. BJP is the first party that believes that it can use encounter to capture headlines. This is worse than the worst criminal minds out there. They are using encounters, trying to kill real people just to ensure that they can capture headlines. What can be more atrocious than that?
Okay. Anila ji, react to that before I go to Sharad Pradhan.
See, as I earlier said, that Samajwadi Party is going to advocate for criminals. Here also, like he is saying that police, a bunch of police people, they went to arrest two people. Didn't they inquire whether the guns are loaded or not? So five accused were arrested. And in return, police were shot from that side, and in exchange of fire, when police fired back, and in that these two accused, they got injured. So this was the scenario, this was the case, but I am not surprised. You are advocating again for these two Muslim criminals because you want to secure your vote bank. Do not try to preach us that whether people of Uttar Pradesh like Yogi Raj or not. People of Uttar Pradesh like Yogi Raj, and you are going to get apt answer in 2027 as well. I fail to understand here. I really fail to understand here. They are trying to tell us that what type of governance Yogi police and administration is doing. Who can forget that during the tenure of Mulayam Singh Yadavji's time or Akhilesh Yadavji's time, no case used to be registered if anything was done against Hindus by Muslims. And the audios and the audio clippings are there. And the latest one was 2013 riots when Azam Khan said that nahi Muslimano ko chhod do. This type of appeasement politics they had been doing. They had been patronizing mafia, dons, criminals. So they have got that mindset only. Let me make myself very, very clear again. We are not here to appease anybody. We are here to see that peace, harmony and law prevails in the state.
Analaji, the Samajwadi Party is also saying that your party is trying to create unrest because of whatever happened in the Lok Sabha elections. You didn't really do well in the state in the Lok Sabha elections is the reason why you want to create that unrest. How do you respond to that allegation?
First of all, let me tell Samajwadi Party here, do not try to quote this example because we have seen that what you have done in Haryana. Like in Lok Sabha, you won 5 seats, okay? 5 out of 10. And in these state elections, how you performed. So do not try to have high hopes. In Uttar Pradesh, we know it very well, why we lost few seats. We are working on it. And 2027 state elections, Yogi Raj is going to prevail again, and whatever will remain, that also will be corrected.
All right.
In his third tenure.
All right. Let me also get in Sharad Pradhan into the conversation. Sir, do you think the number of encounters under the BJP government in Uttar Pradesh is more than the previous governments in the state? Do the figures show that? And how do you think about this entire discourse that is happening around law and order situation and these encounters in particular in Uttar Pradesh?
The government's claims seem to be quite laughable. I'll tell you, I'll have figures. The National Crime Records Bureau, NCRB report says that UP has witnessed 10,713 encounters ever since Yogi Adityanath rode on to become Chief Minister. Out of these, about 220 people were killed and the rest lie injured, wounded, with what they called Operation Langda, which it sounds like a tribal law and could be used in a Banana Republic or in Taliban or in Pakistan, not in India. So they are trying to, I don't know why they are trying to turn India into a Taliban. About this case, the Bahraich case, what we have all forgotten, incidentally, even you have not mentioned, the cause of this shooting. Everything has a cause and effect. And this was during the Dashera procession, the Visarjan time, when this procession was passing through a Muslim locality in Maharashtra town of Bahraich district. And while they were passing through as they entered the Muslim locality, the DJ which was playing started abusive, badly, very, very highly offensive and abusive words were used against Islam as they were moving. It is not that anybody was trying to run down Hindus. The Muslims were, the Hindus were running down Muslims and Islam. Even then, there was no retaliation from. Let me complete, please.
Yes, absolutely. I'll give you the time to complete. I just have one observation. The effect, the effect to the cause cannot be a murder or a death of a young person.
Agreed. No, there should be nobody has the right to kill anyone. Yeah. But those people also need to be taken to task. These fellows, the processionists, including this Ram Gopal Mishra, they stormed into this house belonging to some Muslim, on which there was a green flag flying because there had been some Islamic festival, I don't know which one, a few days earlier. So the flag was there. So they saw the flag and said, we must throw it out. And then this fellow goes inside. A whole lot of people go inside the house. They force themselves and they climb atop the building. And then you have seen the video, the whole world has seen the video, how he pulls that flag down. In the bargain, he even breaks down the railing, which was, apparently it was a weak railing, to which the flag was tied. And then somebody hands him over a saffron flag, which is hoisted there. And he is going out, he was screaming at the top of his voice as if he has won a war. No, let me complete. Now, and after that, yes, this is where somebody from the family shot this fellow, which they had no business to do. Nobody has a right to take anybody's life. That is a crime.
All right.
But for that crime, you can't have the whole family, even the daughter's husband who lives in another village. There were 6, let me tell you to the details of this, which is being hidden by the UP police. The 6 people were taken into custody yesterday. Formally, only 2. The declaration was made of 2, which is a typical practice of the UP police and any police which do enter into fake encounters.
All right.
They were picked up. 2 of them, they were taken there in Gaza. I've heard it from a BJP MP who has been a police director general earlier of UP. He says that 95% of encounters are fake. And UP has seen, you can't have so many encounters. And in this case, the sister had already tweeted to the Prime Minister and everyone, the videos all over the place yesterday, that these fellows have been picked up, and I have suspicion that UP police is going to finish them off. Because of all that publicity, they were not killed, they have been injured.
We've heard what everyone here has to say. I'm unfortunately running short of time at this moment, but thank you everyone, Anila Singh, Ghanshyam Tiwari and Sharad Pradhan for joining us in this conversation. And obviously there is a question about transparency and accountability, and what measures will the government now take to ensure the transparency and accountability. That is the question now.
Hello, Moto.
Motorola Edge 50 Pro, world's first AI-powered pro-grade camera.
Two accused linked to the Bahraich case shot in an encounter. Uttar Pradesh cops claim the accused were planning to flee to Nepal. Opposition in the meanwhile alleges that the encounter was orchestrated. Maharashtra elections preparation picks up pace. Maha Aghadi holds a meeting in Mumbai over seat share pact. Sources claim that dispute is still over the 25 seats. Aviation Minister breaks his silence on threat calls to airlines, says most of the culprits identified are minors and that there is no conspiracy angle which has emerged so far. The Indian government slams Canadian government for the deepening rift between two countries, says that the Canadian Prime Minister is responsible for precipitating the crisis and that there is a clear pattern to run a smear campaign against India.
I don't care for no songs and proses. I don't care for no sweet boys with roses. All I want is a touch of love.
तालियों के साथ हम स्वागत करेंगे आदरणीय मोदी जी का।
छत्रपति शिवाजी महाराज की। एजेंडा फक्त करप्शन फर्स्ट, आमचा अजेंडा आहे नेशन फर्स्ट.
घोषणा आणि जनतेचे पैसे लुटणं.
कट कमिशन आणि करप्शनला आमच्याकडे थारा नाही. त्यांचा परिवारवाद आमचा महाराष्ट्रवाद.
महाराष्ट्रामध्ये 1,75,000 जागा रिक्त आहेत. मग का भरत नाही? राज्याची जनतेच्या घमाच्या पैशाची तिजोरी लुटण्यासाठी हे सरकार आहे.
पूर्वीच्या सरकारच्या काळामध्ये निधी देताना त्यांना असं वाटायचं की त्यांच्याच खिशातले पैसे चालले आहेत. शेतकऱ्यांना मोफत वीज देण्याचं काम आपल्या सरकारने सुरू केलं.
New day, new show, a new experience. Start your day with the news, not views. We bring you stories that matter and impact your life. News that informs and keeps you ahead. From maximum city, Mumbai, to the seat of power, Delhi, NDTV brings you the best breakfast show. Breakfast news on NDTV, 8 a.m. every day. This week on India Ascents. Why Canada and US probe on Khalistani terrorists have taken different trajectories. Dr. Jaishankar speaks terror to Pakistan on Pakistani soil. What's the future of the India-Pakistan relationship? Why IBM thinks India is the next AI capital of the world. All this and more only on India Ascents with me, Gauri Dwivedi, at these timings on the NDTV network.
I've been reporting on all issues, big and small, from Andhra Pradesh, Telangana, rest of South India, bringing you all the action, all that you need to know, all that you want to know.
The energy of Maximum City is infectious. I bring in that energy in our news coverage from financial capital Mumbai.
India's IT capital is always buzz. It's literally a city that never sleeps. And I keep you ahead on all the Bengaluru buzz.
Covering from the southernmost part of India over the last 23 years, I bring in-depth and 360-degree coverage from the Dravidian heartland.
The land of Mishti is also known for its bitter politics. I have seen much water flow under the Howrah Bridge, covering Bengal in all its vivid colors.
Stay informed and entertained with the new and updated NDTV News app. You can watch all our channels live, listen to podcasts, read breaking and exclusive news from around the world and more. Download the NDTV app today and get access to the best journalism and storytelling on your smartphone or tablet. The NDTV app. News that matters to you.
तालियों के साथ हम स्वागत करेंगे आदरणीय मोदी जी का।
छत्रपति शिवाजी महाराज की। करप्शन फर्स्ट, आमचा अजेंडा आहे नेशन फर्स्ट.
घोषणा आणि जनतेचे पैसे लुटणं.
कट कमिशन आणि करप्शनला आमच्याकडे थारा नाही. त्यांचा परिवारवाद आमचा महाराष्ट्रवाद.
महाराष्ट्रामध्ये 1,75,000 जागा रिक्त आहेत. मग का भरत नाही? राज्याची जनतेच्या घमाच्या पैशाची तिजोरी लुटण्यासाठी हे सरकार आहे.
पूर्वीच्या सरकारच्या काळामध्ये निधी देताना त्यांना असं वाटायचं की त्यांच्याच खिशातले पैसे चालले आहेत. शेतकऱ्यांना मोफत वीज देण्याचं काम आपल्या सरकारने सुरू केलं.
New day, new show, a new experience. Start your day with the news, not views. We bring you stories that matter and impact your life. News that informs and keeps you ahead. From maximum city, Mumbai, to the seat of power, Delhi, NDTV brings you the best breakfast show. Breakfast news on NDTV, 8 a.m. every.
Well, the preparation for the upcoming polls in Maharashtra, it has picked up pace. The parties, they are in a huddle to fix their seat sharing in the state. In the meanwhile, a key Mahavikas Aghadi meeting, it took place in Mumbai over seat sharing, and sources say that the dispute is now over 25 seats. Key leaders from the opposition bloc, they attended this meeting. The Mahavikas Aghadi is yet to finalize seat sharing deal. Sources also add that there is a consensus on 263 seats, while dispute is still over few of the Mumbai seats. Sources also add that final decision will be taken and it is likely to come in the next 3 days. Remember, Maharashtra goes to vote on November 28th.
बहुत अच्छी तरीके से चर्चा हमारी चालू है और जल्द से जल्द महाविकास आघाड़ी की यादी पूरी तैयार हो जाएंगी और जल्द से जल्द हम यादी डिक्लेयर करेंगे। अभी करीबन 10% सीट है कि उसके बारे में चर्चा होना बाकी है, उसके बारे में चर्चा करके जल्द से जल्द हम पूरी यादी हमारी डिक्लेयर करेंगे। मुंबई में भी थोड़ी सी जगह, 2 जगह में ये था, पूरे जगह महाराष्ट्र का मिला के मुंबई से 20 से 25 जगह जो है उसमें हाईकमांड डिसीजन लेंगी और कल नहीं तो परसों हमारी फाइनल यादी अलायंस की डिक्लेयर हो जाएगी। 288 जगह में से अगर 260 जगह अगर एक साथ हम मिलकर डिसाइड कर सकते, थोड़ी सी जगह रहती है।
And my colleague Radhika Ramaswamy joins us on the phone line to get us more on this. Radhika, what are the details of this meeting that you can give us? And from what we understand, the dispute is still over those 25 seats. What are the key details?
Right, the seat sharing meeting of the MVA concluded for the day. Leaders like Nana Patole, Sanjay Raut, Jayant Patil, Anil Deshmukh, Jitendra Awad were part of the meeting. Of course, marathon meetings of the opposition coalition had been taking place for quite some time now. Yes, what we are picking up is that consensus has been reached as far as 263 seats of 288 are concerned, but 25 seats in total under dispute. Of course, these involve seats outside of Mumbai, other parts of Maharashtra, but they also involve 5 to 6 seats in Mumbai, such as Kurla, Dharavi, Versova, Baikla. While in some seats, Sena and Congress are staking claim, and in other seats within Mumbai, Sena and NCP are staking claim. So there are disputes as far as 5 to 6 Mumbai seats are concerned and close to 20 seats from outside of Mumbai. Now, the list of these finalized seats as well as disputed seats will be sent to our top leaders of the MVA, our top leaders of the Congress party, Mallikarjun Kharge, as well as of NCP, Sharad Pawar, and Sena leader Uddhav Thackeray. No consensus, however, on CM candidate. Perhaps that is something that the MVA will wait it out. Looks like Sena and Congress in the final deal may get equal seats, or perhaps Sena may get more, and NCP will get about 80 seats is what we are hearing. So Sena perhaps close to 120, somewhere close to that is what Congress is also aiming to get, and then the NCP. The leaders, MVA leaders, also planning to file a complaint with the Election Commission tomorrow. They'll hold a press conference after that. The complaint is on ambiguity in voting lists, regularization of voting, and so on. So yes, seat sharing talks still going on. Consensus reached on 263 seats is what we are hearing.
All right, Radhika Ramaswamy, thank you very much for getting us all the latest from that meeting that took place today. Meanwhile, the Israeli military, it has claimed that there is a possibility that it has eliminated Hamas leader Yahya Sinwar following an operation in the Gaza Strip. Sinwar, remember, is largely believed to be the mastermind of the October 7th attack by Hamas on Israel. My colleague Disha joins us to get us more on this. Disha, what are the details that you can give us from this whole operation at the moment? The Israeli military, it claims that they have eliminated the Hamas leader.
Right, Osama. So now the Israeli military, the IDF, as well as the Israeli Foreign Ministry have issued public statements and tweets on X saying that they have in fact eliminated Hamas chief Yahya Sinwar, who was the political face of the militant groups. So quite a significant development in the over year-long war between Israel and Hamas and the expansion of the war between Israel and Iran. So quite a significant development. This Yahya Sinwar is considered the mastermind of the October 7th attack and has been the primary target for the Netanyahu government and for Israel in this year-long war, and they have continuously been striking various Hamas headquarters and sites targeting Yahya Sinwar. So quite a big, significant and massive development, and this could have massive ramifications for the course of the war and many are even suggesting that it could lead to a breakthrough of talks, of ceasefire talks and hostage deal talks. But in terms of who Yahya Sinwar was, he rose to become the political face of the Hamas after, in late July, after the death of Ismail Haniyeh, who was the political chief until then, and he was considered, as I mentioned, the mastermind of the October 7th attack. But for the past year, since the October 7th attack, he has not been seen publicly and was in hiding. Israel claimed that in Gaza, in Hamas's tunnel network in Gaza. So now that he has been killed, according to claims by the IDF and by the Israeli government, it is quite a significant development. So in terms of what this means for the war, many are suggesting now that this could mean a breakthrough for talks on hostage release as well as ceasefire. It was earlier revealed by the Qatari PM that there's not been any negotiations regarding ceasefire and hostage release over the past month. So now with this development, it is in fact a very significant blow for the militant group as well as Iran's proxy network, and many are now considering this to be one of Netanyahu's big victories and one of the only victories for Netanyahu in this one-year-long war, which has killed over 40,000 in Gaza and several others in Lebanon. So quite a significant development. This situation continues to be fluid. So, and I'll bring you all the latest. Back to you, Osama.
Disha, just give us the sense of what future implications can be.